Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 138. We're back to our previous regular schedule.
Did we do this last week? I don't remember.
We did, I think. So we're back in the basement on a Saturday early afternoon, I guess, technically, as I look at the clock, to talk about a whole whack of wrestling. More so than maybe even last week, and last week was pretty beefy because we've got Revolution we'll run through, right? Dynamite, Impact, NXT, Ring of Honor I watched again, so I have to talk about that, I guess. It's going to be a lot.
Did you watch the whole thing?
I did watch the whole thing.
Okay.
However, I watched part of the first hour while trying to stay awake at midnight or 12:30. You know how you were super tired last night for a bit? I was watching some wrestling while in that state, but yeah, I watched it all. Paid attention to the vast majority, so I'll talk about it. For us, the big excitement, I guess, is March break, right?
Mm-hmm.
Although we always say doesn't feel like it's officially March break until Monday rolls around and we don't have to do anything. But I don't know. I think American listeners, spring break for you, I think it's a little bit later maybe because it sure doesn't feel like spring here because...
No, I'm hoping that that transition's kind of gonna happen across...
To spring? This week?
Like across the week, you know
That
what I
would
mean?
be
Like by the
amazing.
time we go back, it's like...
As someone out driving
different.
around last night, it certainly didn't arrive. It was crazy. Snowy again. The highway, which is 110 kilometers an hour where we live, was going 40. So that's why the drive home from your brother's basketball took so long last night. It was super frustrating.
Wasn't it? It wasn't 12 hours though, right?
It was not. No. Yeah, so that's the other thing, I guess, because that was Sunday, right?
Yes. Yeah, it was.
Long story short, it's related to wrestling because it ended up getting us a free pay-per-view out of AEW, I guess our cable provider more accurately, because yes, due to snowstorm here last weekend, I think I mentioned it on the show, your brother's basketball was postponed, and that's why we recorded in our old time slot right on Saturday. But then that just meant they condensed a 2-day playoff tournament into 1 day on Sunday and really did not communicate that effectively at all. So we thought we had 2 games and we're going to be like 9 a.m. and at noon. So then we'd be out by 1, home by 2. No,
not even a little bit.
So then he played again at 4:30 and again at 7:30. So by the time we got out of there, because I never left the building, other than to get air a couple times, I had been there almost 13 hours. So in a basketball facility with 4 basketball courts running, a couple soccer fields behind it, and a volleyball court beside it with all people yelling and screaming and basketballs and whistles. And so it was an awful lot. But anyways, so I texted you, right, and said, will you pay for the pay-per-view? It's automatically set up on our thing. So that when I get home, because now I won't be home for the start of it, thinking I'd be there several hours before it.
Well in advance.
Right. So, yes, you recorded it. And then
I did do that.
You did. It has been confirmed because there was some doubt. We didn't know what was going on. But yeah, so I got home after 9, sat down even though I was exhausted, okay, let's watch this show.
Mm-hmm.
Could not get it to work on we still have cable, among other things. And we had paid for it. Jack promised, I did it right. It said, thanks for your purchase or whatever. And would not play through any means that I tried, right?
Yeah.
And so we had to wait a day. It was there the next day, worked fine. And then your mother got contacted by our cable provider saying, hey, we noticed there was a problem. We didn't even have to contact them.
No,
they were just
you told me, yeah.
We noticed that it wasn't available when you wanted it, and so we're sorry, and you don't pay for it. It's been removed from your bill. So we definitely without spoiling anything, we can easily say that Revolution
was worth the money.
was great value for us or something, even if we hated it probably.
Yeah.
So we are going to talk about that. But yeah, that was our experience there.
Yeah.
Anything exciting in your week before March break started?
After a 2-month wait, Crosshair was back, baby.
So I haven't seen it yet. You watched it without me.
Oh, that's right. We have to watch that.
And we just
still.
finished Mandalorian, which I thought I liked that episode.
Other than the fact that I couldn't see a whole lot.
It was really dark, and we were watching it kind of in the day.
But that's partially on us. I feel like we probably should have timed that better, but that's okay. But yeah, and Bad Batch because my favorite guy, the best one. Let's be honest, because what do the other ones do?
Right.
He was in the 3rd episode, and he was in the whole episode, and that was the best episode of the season so far. And then he's been gone for the past 2 months, and then he was in this week's episode, and it was sick.
So I'll have to get caught up on that if you say it's good, because some of them we talked about it last week have been a little bit boring, but if you say it's good, Plus, once I've started the season, I'll
I
finish it.
I changed my
right?
Instagram handle to his clone number because he
Nice.
was gone for so long.
Oh, you can just change it that quickly?
I can change it whenever I want.
Do
So I
people-
changed it
is
to
that a-
CT9904.
Is that a thing people do?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I
So
can
then,
just change it whenever I want.
But then let's say, sorry, as a
Okay. Sure.
social media person. So then when you post something or whatever and I follow you, do I now have to, will
No.
I be like, who the hell is this?
Well, you might not know I changed my name, but it's the same. Like you'll still be following it or whatever. Like, and like I don't know, you could probably.
Would I have to like do any
assume.
double checking, like scroll back and go, oh, it's Jack? Or will I know?
Or just tap on the profile, yeah, and then
Okay.
I'll say my name or whatever.
So you're
and
creating work
it's
for
okay.
people is what I'm establishing.
Somewhat, yeah, and it's. It means me to not have my name in the handle, so I mean it's still in the bio, but I don't know.
Right.
Like then it doesn't. I don't know.
And I imagine
Crosshair's been gone.
most people that really follow you, they'll know just based on your post who it is, probably.
Yeah, I don't post a whole lot. Like I think I just did because
I like to hear that.
Oh yeah, on February 16th I posted for no reason the Phoenix injury thing.
Nice.
Just that video.
Are you posting anything on the FNS account?
No,
No,
not
you're
really.
terrible.
I'll do that this time. But
Just any of your wrestling thoughts and stuff.
you want me to post Ray Phoenix again?
Sure, whatever you want.
Because I kept torturing Hancock with that.
You should
And
post
then
any wrestling there.
Other than that, I always just post on my story because that'll last a day and then it just disappears. So I don't.
Oh, is that what a story means?
So I feel like the post is just like I don't know. Sometimes I don't because I feel like most of the time I don't have anything I actually want to post, and then I'll post something and like for a while my last post was when Brock Lesnar won the title at day 1.
Yeah.
And eventually it's just like sometimes I look back and I'm like, I don't really like this anymore.
Right.
And it's like
It's
why
good
am I even posting?
That's good for you that you've noticed that.
Because like I used to have like a lot more, I think, when I started, and so now I'm down to 8. I think I deleted a bunch, and then also you can archive them.
Yeah.
So to everyone else, it would be like deleted, but like if you go into your archive, you could still see it. So I did, like my Jordan Devlin pick.
Look at you with your social media savvy.
I have that because I don't now. None of my face is absent on my because that was
you are your father's son.
That was
I don't exist online.
That was the only picture of myself I still had there,
That's funny.
and I purposely go to my way to never. I think at most I put the House of Black picture on my story, on my profile picture temporarily. Yeah. But then I was just like, nah, I'm good.
Dude, we're 138 episodes in and I've still never used my name.
Yeah.
like family members and some people know who I am, and that's
it's slightly unfair,
cool.
but I respect it in a way.
I
would.
It's only your first name, right?
Yeah, no, Jack. That's fair. I would, yeah.
And that could be a gimmick.
It could be a lie.
Yeah.
It might not even be true.
Correct.
We don't know. Maybe
your name could be anything.
I was named after Jungle Boy for sure.
That's what it was. Because your name is Perry.
Yeah. No, I was named after the platypus.
Right. Oh yeah, from Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah,
it's a good show.
Yeah,
you were late to that show.
Yeah, and then we watched it for a bit, and then now we just don't really.
It was a good show.
I'd rather watch Kicking It personally, but
oh god, no. Or what's the one I hate more?
Some
Assembly Required.
No, that I get that now. But
I hate that show so much that when I found out it was Canadian, it like hurt me.
Oh no, it's not.
It is.
Oh my god,
I'm almost positive.
There's no way.
Double check.
Well, Kicking It's like one of the things where it's like I know it's bad now, but that was I remember watching that.
Appropriately bad. Like that's the way
it was a Disney Channel thing.
Right.
It was like or Disney XD or whatever. Like
but
that.
Some Assembly Required is unbelievable. Like offensive. What was the episode? The fake Lego one.
Oh yeah,
it's one of the most offensive episodes of anything I've ever seen.
I don't remember how to go. I know that there was one though.
It made me angry. I think I left the room on that one. It was so bad. I'll have to watch it again.
Now I want to watch that. Yeah,
it was infuriating. So but anyways,
also a week until Comic-Con.
Right, and then not too long till we go to Impact. Second
right.
row of the pay-per-view, baby.
Hooray.
That'll be fun.
Back in Rebel too. I gotta ask Mom to take out some of the savings.
I'm gonna email.
I need to be loaded.
Email Ashley and see if she's still there too. See what we can do.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, that's like over 9 minutes of banter. That's crazy.
Still
everyone has stopped listening, but we get their listen after 30
left.
Seconds, I think. And if they downloaded it too late, so
I think it's probably 30 seconds like before we actually start talking about stuff. So it's like you're waiting for us to talk about stuff, and boom, we win.
That's why I make the intro 30 seconds long.
Yeah, you got.
So if they get past that, we got them.
You should like.
No, I don't actually. I shortened it actually.
You should start running all the socials in the beginning, so it's like it's at least 30 seconds in the beginning.
Then we got
them. So it's like you already
got your listen
exactly,
and then it's just dead air.
We win. Yeah, then I don't care.
Our numbers stay the same.
I don't care after 30
Infinitely
seconds.
less work.
Yeah,
easy. Perfect.
could do a 30-second pod, honestly. Actually, no, 5 seconds.
And then just record silence for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And put it out there.
Just record 30 seconds and leave, and then come back in 2 hours.
I say we should try it. Special episode.
Yeah. That's our March break bonus. There it is.
Anyways, we should get into talking about some wrestling, because now I feel like it's going to be a long episode. So let's do that now, starting with taking a look at some of the week's wrestling news and rumors. All right, ratings-wise, this week's episode of NXT averaged 624,000 viewers, up 12.4%, and earned a 0.17 in the key demographic, up 30.8%. So here you go. You ready for the...
Okay.
So think about the second highest audience, seems to be what they like to do.
Right, because why not? Why go the highest when you can do the next best thing?
Second highest, right? Yeah. And see how far it stretches back all the way to January's New Year's Eve Evil. So what month is it now?
2 months later.
The second highest thing from 2 months ago.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Okay, cool.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
Dynamite averaged 858,000, which is up 3%, earned a 0.29 in the key demo, up 7.4. Second highest audience total since, even better.
Okay.
February 8th.
Oh, fantastic. A month and 3 days ago.
I almost feel like their goal is to go second highest since when? And
since
it's always second highest.
Too. It's not even been that long. It's barely been a month.
It's kind of not even worth mentioning, and I now kind of put it in there half as a joke.
It's like when you use the bad trivia on purpose, because it was so out of whack. It's what was that?
That was a book I got.
Right.
Because I think the card one was actually okay.
Yeah, because it's still here somewhere. Right?
It's on my shelf somewhere.
Yeah.
But the book was brutal. You corrected it.
Right.
Every week.
Okay. No, I was trying to think. I knew you had a book, but I was trying to think of what it was, and I was like, oh, okay. I got there. Yeah. All right.
What's your news?
So just basic stuff to start off is we got some WrestleMania 39 card editions from Raw. So it's Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul, which is no surprise. Which is fine. I'm not mad about that. I mean, I am a little there it is. I am a little annoyed, of course, because I feel like Rollins could do so much better. But I knew this was happening after the Rumble, so it's not like
the rating was on the wall.
It's not a huge outrage, honestly. Like as much as it should be good. At least Logan Paul could probably deliver in the ring, and Rollins is fantastic. So Rollins is definitely gonna help him a lot.
As much as I can't stand the guy, for the amount he's wrestled, Paul's been impressive, and
He'll
Rollins
will like someone worthwhile in the ring, right?
And Rollins will pull even more out of him, right?
Yeah,
so it could be good.
I think this benefits Paul a lot, and at least it's kind of mainstream for Rollins, I hope. Then we have Cena versus Theory for the U.S. title, which was surprising for me because I'm not sure about putting the title on the line. But then at least to me, it kind of telegraphs that Theory could actually win this, which I think is really good for him.
I think that's the plan. Is they need to. Obviously they like him, and this is their way of going.
Cena was gonna face Paul, but then he wanted to face Theory because he sees Theory as a star, which I think that's really good for him, and I hope that pans out.
And if Cena's goal is to elevate Theory, like how else do you do that other than losing to him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I think that makes sense because Cena really doesn't. Like, what good does that do him?
I think they're kind of at a crossroads with Theory, right? Because they clearly want to push him, but I don't think
I think they've done a better job of since this more serious run ever since he won which I do kind of like that look better now. It was kind of weird, but I'm like I like that.
I like it better too.
So I think his current run's been a little better. So that's cool. And then surprisingly, Damage Control versus Becky Lynch, Lita, and Trish Stratus.
Right. So
Stratus is a surprise to me. And I saw like someone, I think it was the Stash Club Wrestling that I was telling you about. So shout out to them. They were saying like, some people are like mad about Lita winning the tag titles with Lynch, but the way they put it was really smart. Was it's not like the women's tag titles mean a whole lot.
Nothing.
So like her winning them, it's like if she was like beating Belair for the main title,
it's different.
Then that would be that would be stupid.
These are pretty meaningless
when
titles.
They put it like that, I was like, oh yeah, it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't, and it's not disparaging women. It's the fact that there are no tag teams in that
Damage
division.
Control is probably the only one,
right?
So
that I can think of,
right.
So I'm gonna piggyback off of you because I was going to just try and gauge your and mine, I guess, excitement level for WrestleMania this year. So you've already talked about those matches, right? So what about, so let's just quickly, your interest level for the women's trios match, I guess, as it is. Are you interested in the women's trios match?
Not really.
Not really? Theory Cena?
Yeah.
A little bit?
Actually, I think that would be pretty good.
Rollins Paul, we talked about.
I would say,
could be good.
Yeah.
Lesnar Omos.
Not even a little bit.
No.
Like opposite of
right.
interested. I don't want to see that.
Belair Asuka.
Absolutely.
Yep, me too. Flair Ripley?
No, not because that will be a bad match, but because we got fatigued on that in like 2020,
I agree.
2021.
And I want to get behind Ripley, at least the wrestler Ripley,
I think she
not
has
the
to.
person
At least
Ripley,
she has to win it this time, like because
I think so.
the
Yeah.
NXT title match was.
But Charlotte.
Yeah, that's never gonna be not a factor.
And WrestleMania, where I feel like she'll just go, no, I'm not. Like I don't know if she
No.
has that power.
Ain't
but
my judgment day.
Reigns Rhodes.
Yeah, I think that'll be really
Me
good
too.
actually.
And probably Usos, Zayn, Owens.
I'm so hyped for that. If they
Me
do
too.
that, I would love that.
And then on the
Because
opposite
that
end,
storyline's awesome.
another probable is Lashley Wyatt, which I don't care about at all.
No, the storyline just not there. As much as I love Wyatt, A, the current character confuses me. B, why Lashley? That just doesn't work for me. And like, if you want to draw something good out of Bray, no offense to Lashley, it's not that Lashley isn't good, but I don't think Lashley's that kind of guy. You need to put him with someone else good too.
Yeah.
And like, not that he's not good, but he's good, but he's not going to draw something out of Bray.
The promos I've heard from Lashley lately are not good. Holy cow! I've just heard little clips in there. They're not good.
I don't think he's doing like necessarily bad, but like, why couldn't we have heel Hurt Business for longer? Why can't we be doing that?
I know it was like basically anything I listened to or read was big, and even I was vaguely paying attention because it was cool.
Yeah, and it's weird how short-lived that was too, because that was such a cool faction. Like, you could argue like it's kind of dumb to do the whole like, because they're all the same race or whatever, but like, it was awesome.
And MVP was a great mouthpiece for all of them because they all need help.
I think MVP's so wasted on Omos because like you kind of just said, they all needed help, the Hurt Business guys, but they're also talented,
right?
And
they had chemistry. They felt like a group the way they interacted. I think
Alexander and Benjamin's a cool team, and like Omos is just like not talented in anything.
Plus, I love that makeup of here's the main event singles guy, and here's a clear tag team, and here's a mouthpiece. Right? It just all fit really well. Do that more.
I think they should bring back Hurt Business, but like, I don't even want Hayes in there because Hayes can stand on his own two legs, and Omos doesn't need to be anywhere near. I think I want like the actual Hurt Business back because that'd be like, you don't need to change it at all. You need to turn them heel again. Especially when the bloodline dissolves after Mania, I think that's the time to capitalize on that because, because if you had the Hurt Business and the bloodline kind of in the same vicinity, I think it might kind of.
I agree. Yeah, there's a bit of overlap or similarity.
Yeah, and it's just like who's really like. Then it kind of makes I think the Hurt Business would look less dominant because
the comparison
bloodline
is
clearly the overarch,
and you're putting it directly against something where they go, well, this is like the B+ version of the bloodline sort of thing.
Exactly.
I don't know if we talked about it on here or whatever, but that Lesnar basically was like, I'm not doing supernatural stuff, so I'm not.
That's fair, but I don't know why he would agree to Omos then.
Right. I think it's just he's gonna dominate him. It's gonna be a Lesnar 4-minute.
That makes their big bad giant look bad. Right. So what's the point of that?
There isn't one.
Like, honestly,
we'll barely pay attention to it. So what else do you have? I guess it's your turn.
So we are finally getting the Return of the King of the Ring pay-per-view, or PLE, I guess. It's King and Queen of the Ring this time,
but taking place in
Saudi Arabia. So no. I was hoping you didn't know.
No, we'll not be watching.
So yeah, it's on May 27th. I think it's really cool. I'm happy it's back, but being the next Saudi show, I don't care anymore.
Right.
And it's a slight nitpick for me, which might sound weird depending on but like, I don't love the title King and Queen of the Ring. Like, it just doesn't flow to me. Like, I like if it was just titled King of the Ring, like, I understand the whole quality. I think that's not my gripe with it. It just doesn't sound right to me.
Yeah.
It just purely from the title just doesn't flow to me.
Feels like a Logan Paul win to me. It does.
Ooh, gross.
Because he's famous or whatever. I don't know if is he globally famous. Probably. I don't know. I don't know how these things work.
Probably at least like here.
I know he's North American famous.
Yeah, definitely North America. I honestly don't.
And if he has a good showing at Mania, I feel like they may want.
I don't know. I don't
strap the rocket to him, as they say.
I don't know if they'll actually give him anything yet. I don't know who they give that to, but we'll see. I mean, last time they gave it to Xavier Woods and Zelina Vega, so we'll see.
True.
And look what they did.
It's funny because I read you this headline and you were like, because I think she's so forgotten. You were like, Saraya? She's not. Tokyo Sports reports that Saraya will no longer be with WWE and that she's returning to Japan. I guess she hasn't wrestled since last August, so a long time. Because you were like, Saraya's not in WWE. I'm like, no, Saraya. Oh, right. She didn't get much of a chance, right? She was saddled with, remember the 2.0 where she would like transform.
She was really solid before 2.0 though.
She had some.
She didn't have a lot of depth, but she was really interesting in the ring.
And I found her sort of hit and miss in the ring. The drop kick in the ropes looked awesome to the seated opponent. Always looked great. But yeah, she never really got a chance and was kind of saddled with that ridiculous gimmick that still makes me laugh as she transforms on her way to the ring. But anyway, so
bad.
she's gone and back to Japan. I'm sure she's happy about that. So good for her.
They revealed the 2K DLC packs. So hooray! Okay. So coming on, they released different from the game. So we have on the April 19th, we have the Steiner Row pack.
Steiner Row?
It'll make sense.
Okay.
We have both Steiners, which is solid, and then Hit Row.
Okay.
And BFAB is thankfully only as a manager. Don't worry, I won't use her anyways.
No 5-star matches?
No, no swerve either, so I don't even care. Then DLC 2, we have the Pretty Sweet pack, which is May 17th.
Okay, which is Pretty Deadly?
Pretty Deadly, yes. Which I think is cool. I would probably use them decently, at least in like Universe,
Sweet.
You know? I would use them in Universe, you know.
Some Wolfpack people?
No. Other Too Sweet.
Who's that?
Think about it for a second. Not NWO. Who else uses that a lot?
I don't know. Bullet Club.
You're along the right. And who would that be in the WWE?
Who would that be in the WWE? Finn Balor?
Good Brothers.
Oh, Good Brothers. Oh, yeah, thank goodness.
On. And Tiffany Stratton is also in there.
Oh, she's cool.
Yeah. Then DLC 3, we have Race to NXT pack. So 4 NXTs and then the one legend who made
Harley Race.
Okay, so Harley Race.
I thought it was going to be like all one race, this line.
Solid guess.
Yeah.
And then we have 4 NXT people, 2.0, so obviously. So if you want to try.
Sorry, what was it? Race to what?
Race to NXT pack. So it's going to be like 2 women, 2 male.
Carmelo Hayes.
No, close, because he's in the main game. Close. Think about it.
Trick Williams.
Yes, that's one.
Okay, cool. He's growing on me big time.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, 2 men, 2 women?
Yes.
You already said Stratton.
Mm-hmm.
So what other woman would they put in?
Creeds are in the game.
Oh, so what's her face? Who I
Come on.
She's short. She's jacked. She always has tight braids.
Who it is.
Ivy Nile.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so you got Trick, Ivy Nile.
Okay.
They got a snoozer of a pick too.
Oh, Wendy Chu.
Yeah.
Great.
And then, I mean, you need a Dawn of the game, right?
Oh, Tony D. Nice.
Yeah. So we got those. Then the 4th one, July 19th, the Revel with Wyatt pack. It's really tough.
So Wyatt and Johnny Gargano?
No, he's in. So it's Revel with Wyatt pack. Who?
Candice LeRae?
No.
Or
no? I think they're in.
So isn't that this Rebel Heart thing?
No, it's Revel. This is Revel with Wyatt. Okay, so
I don't know.
So we have 1 women's main roster, 2 NXT, 1 male, 1 woman, and I'll just give you it, Zeus.
Okay.
So yeah, there's
2
Zeus.
NXT, 1 man, 1 woman.
One of them has one of your favorite gimmicks.
The male or
and
female?
One of them's from UK. The male is one of your favorite gimmicks, and he's running that.
Axiom?
No.
Scripts?
No. Like when you're consistent, your favorite segments from this act.
Briggs and Jensen?
No. A heel group.
Gallus?
No, another one.
Actually, Gallus aren't heels anymore, I don't think either, which I'll get to at some point today. Who I don't, my favorite.
Like you love.
Gacy.
Yep, Gacy, and then
apparently there's a lot of things I don't like on NXT, right?
A woman from UK who you kind of liked.
Stevie.
She was more prominent. Like she was one of the top ones.
This is going back.
Not Satomura. I'll give you that.
Is it the one that got hurt?
Yes.
Priestley?
Yeah, Davenport.
Right, Davenport.
And then Valhalla or Sarah
perfect.
Logan. So last pack, the 5th one, August 16th. The Bad News U pack, the letter U, if that's a hint.
Chase U.
Okay, so yeah, Andre Chase, and then Bad News U pack.
Bad News Brown?
No, close.
Really?
No, like
Barrett.
Yeah, Barrett's in there.
Gotcha.
Then you have 2 more NXTs and a random woman from like the Divas era.
Undertaker's wife.
No. No, I think she would have been after.
2 NXTs?
Yes.
Male or female?
One's both male, one's from UK.
Nathan Fraser?
Yeah. What?
Nice.
Okay. And then the other one, you kind of like his heel stuff.
Oh, Kemp?
Yeah.
Nice.
And then the last one, you'll never get it. It's Eve Torres.
I would never get that.
I don't know why. But yeah, so those are the DLC. I don't mind some of the picks. Like I really like kind of Pretty Deadly, even Good Brothers. and like maybe Trick to go with him, and then maybe Gacy. I really like Barrett and Fraser because I'm looking for guys that I'll end up using a lot in universe. So that's cool. I like some of the picks, but some of them are weird.
Fraser's moveset will probably be cool.
Oh, that's true. I'm glad they don't have any weird picks. 'Cause last year you had like Mr. T and Machine Gun Kelly and like
amazing.
I'm just glad Boogeyman's not DLC this year.
Right.
Because he's funny.
He's just in there?
Yep.
Nice. What do I have? AEW's Brian Cage expected to explore free agency. Apparently, AEW has offered him a contract. Fightful's reporting that they're looking to extend his deal at least to the end of June because of, I think, injury time. So they're doing, which I don't like. I've said it before, this whole like, you were injured for 3 months, so we're tacking 3 months.
Yeah, it feels like a very WWE move.
It is. They do it all the time. Yeah. But so he pushed back, and they came to a deal for him to work through March 31st, Super Card of Honor at least. But in a way, I feel like
then they might drop the belts.
I feel like, I like Cage in the ring, don't get me wrong. Is there a market for him? Because he's been around a long time. I know
he's had interest from WWE for a while.
But he's been available a million times, and they've never grabbed him. So my point is, like, has AEW really raised his stock since the last time they didn't want him? No. So I kind of feel
Wasn't he like maybe going before he went to AEW?
Yes. I feel like there was talk even off of Lucha Underground, like, because he looks incredible and he's like a video
remember
game.
People thought he was gone last year, and then he popped up again with Embassy, I think.
And it's always just the personality and talking, right? Like, that's completely missing. He's got the look and the in-ring in spades, but the other part. So I'm just kind of like, I feel like he ends up back with AEW. I don't think he goes to WWE because they've had a million chances at him. I don't know, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I only have a couple more.
See. There it is. There are reportedly big plans for Solo Sikoa following Mania.
Good.
Which I feel like could happen when we get like the Descension of the Bloodline, that'll allow him to maybe stand on his own, or maybe he'll stick with one of them. I don't know.
He's solid, honestly. Like, I've always, even in NXT, I said
maybe they can flesh him out because I think he's done really well as the enforcer, but like he wasn't that in NXT and he was okay, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully they do more.
He was the guy who had no family. And then ironically goes to main roster and is just
enforcing the family.
Super tight with his family.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, even after the first month or two in NXT, I was like, he's good enough to go. Same with Breaker, right? Like, are they 5-star match guys? Maybe not, but are they good enough to be like solid main roster people? Yeah. Easily, right?
Breaker just needed Hayes to be available.
Yeah, that's right. I'm really hoping that title change happens.
Has to.
We talked about this a little earlier today, you and I, that WWE is trying to get their matches available on betting sites, which are sweeping the continent. Probably.
God, there's way too many. It's so annoying.
The ads are like,
they're trying to like legalize betting for the matches, right?
For scripted stuff. Like, that doesn't sound dangerous at all.
That just seems doomed to fail. And be like, I was reading that it could kind of hurt main event stars, because then it's like you have to keep a lot of people in the dark about what's gonna happen, right? Because then they could like bet on it or whatever, and like it could screw the main eventers. Because I was saying I was reading that it could like then they might not know who's winning until like
they walk out there, kind of deal.
Or like they might not know at all. It's like, I don't know, I feel like it'll just screw a lot over, and it's like it's bound to be like
well. And do you know why WWE wants it? Money, because then they can do like, imagine they actually are available on DraftKings or whatever these. Sorry, I don't really like to use names and give them any credit, but like any of them, they can sponsor them now, and they can mention like, oh, you can go and bet on Bobby Lashley or whatever, and here's the betting line.
Because right now it's like you have to bet like on finishers or like what's gonna happen, which I feel like that's even like, I don't know, you should probably keep it at that.
Because I watch a lot of basketball, as you know, and football. And basketball, it's already in there. There's like little breaks in between segments of a basketball game where they're like, you can bet on this, right? It's like, and I hang out with a bunch of dads on the street and in this neighborhood, right? And every single one of them is it's like when we watch Super Bowl, they're constantly checking their phones.
Right.
Because
oh my God. Before the Super Bowl, I saw a million Gronk commercials where like he was doing the Kick of Destiny.
Yeah.
And it was sponsored by
one of them.
One of them. I know which one it was, but we'll keep that.
They don't get oxygen from us.
But like, and I can't tell you how many times I saw that ad, or like a short variation of it, a long variation of it. Like,
well, I went to watch the second half in a neighbor's
North
garage.
America's #1 sports book.
Right. Like, so I went to watch in a neighbor's garage second half, and like all the dads were constantly, okay, so now it's this. Oh, so there's another touchdown for one team. Now the odds changed on this for the, like, you know what I mean? You can just forever
too many variables
on your phone checking. But anyways, That is all I have for news. You have anything else?
A few more, yeah.
Go.
So the WrestleMania plans for Rousey are still reportedly for her and Baszler to take the women's tag titles at Mania, but with Lynch and Lita teaming with Trish against Damage Control, it's speculated that would be on the first night, and then you do the tag title match on the second night.
I don't believe it.
Which isn't the craziest thing. Cause I remember, I think when Baszler and Jax were champs. I think was it Riot Squad who won. Remember there was like a tag team turmoil the first night, and then there was a tag title match the second night. In 2021, it wasn't great, but I think remember it was the tag team turmoil and it was like really bad.
Yes.
That.
I think there's just as much chance that A, they don't care about Baszler at all, obviously, and B, maybe they've noticed Rousey is not the value, and they might just not book
the sucky part
them.
is Baszler's the good one,
and not include them at all. I think that's as much
honestly,
of a chance.
I'd rather do that because I don't think Baszler's already held the tag titles twice and didn't really do anything.
I've pretty much given up on her.
Yeah,
and not because she's not awesome, because she's awesome.
She's the better one. She's better than Rousey.
She
I think
should
she always has been
a killer, you know.
Yeah.
Kind of feels similarly to her as I do about Masha in terms of like you just need to book her as a monster, and I think you have like a 8-month to year-long.
And there's
awesome
been a couple
title
times
reign.
where you should have pulled the trigger, and like
agree,
it just hasn't happened.
Nope.
So next one, WrestleMania Backlash is no more.
Oh yeah,
we have Backlash
back to
this
Backlash.
Year.
Nice.
Even better, it's taking place in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Want to guess who's hosting?
Savio Vega.
For sure.
I don't know who.
Bad Bunny.
Oh, right.
Hooray.
That makes sense. I'm glad they ditched that name because it was ridiculous.
Although I'm kind of sad they did because it was really funny.
No fun.
And then it was also funny because then last year they did before Mania, they did WrestleMania Raw and WrestleMania SmackDown with the Andre Battle Royal.
Because it was a week of WrestleMania then, or whatever.
It was so funny. I'm gonna kind of miss it. It was really funny.
Yep.
Although they should bring back Great Balls of Fire. I think Triple H should bring that back.
That was a one-off, man.
That was awesome. Okay, even greater Balls of Fire.
I remember being like, "What? What are they called? Why?"
I don't even know where that came from either. Like,
I don't either.
Why?
It's a famous song.
I know, but I don't even think they used the song.
No, that's what I figured. They were gonna tie it into, and he didn't have exactly a story you want to remind people of, if I remember correctly.
I don't know. Or like another.
He was somewhat controversial.
Another weird one was Stomping Grounds, but at least then Seth Rollins was Universal Champion when that happened.
Right.
So at least there was that. Anywho, much to our excitement, Stu Grayson's making his AEW return next week.
He is.
Yeah.
Do we know if it's a one-off or contract?
I don't know, but he's teaming with Hangman and Uno against Blackpool next week. So that's sweet.
I didn't know it was Grayson.
That's why I sent it to you.
I just noticed Dark Order.
Oh, I didn't notice that first too, and then I saw this, and I was like, "Wait a minute, was that Grayson?" And
I didn't even notice that detail.
That's why I sent it to you.
I just saw Dark Order versus, and I was like,
"Okay." At
first
I thought it was Silver, and then I was like,
awesome.
"Okay, cool." And then, but
good
yeah,
for Grayson.
Grayson's in next week, so that's cool because he's been gone for like a decent while.
I think that's the other thing. At a glance, I probably just assumed it was John Silver because a small little picture on my phone without even clicking on it, I probably was, oh yeah, cool.
And it doesn't actually say it's him, so yeah,
that's awesome.
The last one, we have our first inductee into this year's Hall of Fame, which I know is super exciting.
heard it happen, but I don't know who it is.
You want to guess?
I thought when I read it, I got a hint of it. Somebody not super important, right?
No, like I'd say it's fairly big, and and thankfully they're not like I don't think they're
any
super
hints?
old.
Okay, not super old.
He's definitely worthy of it, I think.
Okay.
Like he's accomplished a lot.
What era?
Still kind of current, obviously. And then also, I would say late 90s, and then all the 2000s, early 2010s.
And still with the company?
Yeah, pretty prominently.
Wow. I have no idea.
You could probably get. He's like
more hints. Go. What you got for me? R-Truth. No, he's not prominent right now.
You probably liked him a lot in WCW.
Oh.
He's won the Rumble.
I don't remember things.
I don't know.
Won the Rumble.
I'm trying not to give it away because it's kind of interesting if you don't know.
At WCW and still relevant today.
Yeah.
Wrestling-wise relevant?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He challenged Gunther not too long ago.
Because that's 20-something years ago. I don't know. Just tell me.
Mysterio.
Oh, no, that's not at all what I was thinking. I don't remember what the hint was. But
I'm surprised he's getting inducted.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I'm just surprised it's not like until Dominic, after he retires.
You mean Dominic?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I'm not surprised that Rey Mysterio is getting, because like I said, he's definitely worthy of it. Like, at least it's not like when you're inducting Queen Charmel.
And I did like him in WCW when it was all
exactly.
the
I didn't want to say ECW because that might be like, actually I probably could have now. But,
you probably could have.
So like it's not surprising to me. It's just surprising that like they're doing it while he's still active. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they would wait till after
That's a big
he's
name.
done. Yeah. You know what's funny is I was just watching because I heard Batista might be in this year too, which I think would be interesting if he's going solo before Triple H. But like, because they were playing one of those best of things where it was like Triple H's best Mania matches, and so it was, remember the one from 2019 where Triple H and Batista fought, and then like that was the last match, and then Batista retired after that.
Yep.
I thought it was funny because Triple H put his career on the line in that match, and then he won. So obviously he didn't have to retire. But then I'm pretty sure he hasn't wrestled since then, and he retired at Mania last year.
It's the opposite of all wrestling, where they say they retired and don't.
They say they won't retire.
He didn't have to and did.
And yeah, he still did. So it was like both of their retirement matches, which was funny.
All right.
But that is everything.
Okay, so I guess going in order, we need to take a look at, and I have some brief notes, nothing too crazy, on the pay-per-view from last Sunday that we got for free, and that is AEW Revolution. All right, so we haven't talked too much about our thoughts on this, so I'm interested to see what you think of it.
Off of memory.
So the opener on this show is Absolute Ricky Starks taking on Chris Jericho. Right off the bat, not the opener I would have chosen.
I would have absolutely chosen the trios match.
Yes.
With zero doubt in my mind.
Yep. So Jericho Appreciation Society are banned from ringside, right?
I'll get the predictions while you're doing that.
So the one thing I noted that I don't have many notes on this stuff, but Jericho countered a spear into a code breaker that looked pretty good at one point. We got Walls of Jericho, then a single leg crab by Starks, and that leads to...
I don't know why I'm suddenly feeling like I didn't see a lot of this.
Sammy Guevara runs down to ringside, right, and is sort of blindsided by Action Andretti.
Yeah, they made that a point on Dynamite, like, and so then they're facing off on Rampage again.
Of course.
Which I saw some highlights of that from Guevara's Instagram, and actually it looked kind of solid, like in the GTH. I think he drilled them.
Yeah, that looks nice.
I think that was the same show as the one Aussie Open match, and I was gonna watch it. I think it was Aussie Open Bucks, but then I was like, I never did.
We didn't watch that. So the ref, this bugged me a little. He's distracted for some reason by two people not involved in the match fighting at ringside, and he's distracted quite a while. So remember, Jericho grabs the bat from the corner and I think hits Starks in the midsection with it, right? Bat shot. So then Jericho goes for the Judas effect, but Starks blocks it and nails Jericho with the Rochambeau. So the right result, at least, Starks wins in just under 14 minutes. So I thought it was a good match. Like, I liked it, but it's not the barn burner of an opener that I hope for on AEW. Well, any show, not just
especially
AEW,
the
right?
pay-per-view, though.
And yes, especially their pay-per-views. And the feud doesn't feel really fresh to me either. It's been going on for quite a while, which is a symptom of pretty much everything Jazz does.
We both... actually, I picked Starks.
Nice.
You picked Jericho.
Weird.
Nice.
I know we picked a lot of different ones on this one.
We did. So this will be interesting.
Someone's going to win by a lot, probably.
Or something?
So the run-ins by...
You got any spare paper?
The run-ins by Sammy and Andretti took me out of it a little bit because, again, it was really far too long for him to be distracted by people not involved in the match. So I don't know, but I enjoyed it overall. I don't think it was truly memorable, and I'm just hoping it seems to be the end of Starks and Jazz, right, which is what we need it to be. So I say this is in my note before we get to Dynamite this week. I said I could do without Jazz being on TV every single week going forward. Not going to get that.
You're already guaranteed next week too.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. So what did you think of that opener?
I thought it was solid. Like it was. I don't know.
It's funny that my note says it wasn't very memorable, and you're like, I don't remember.
I don't remember a lot.
Yeah,
it wasn't memorable. It doesn't stand out to me, and honestly, I don't think it should have been the opener. I think you should have gotten the crowd hot, and this wasn't really it to me.
Yeah.
But it was okay. It wasn't bad. The finish wasn't great, but generally it was solid from what I can remember, and Starks winning makes sense to me.
I liked it, but nothing special, basically. Yeah. Then we move on to the last burial match between Jungle Boy Jack Perry and Christian Cage. Is this the one where Cage is wearing the...
turtleneck?
Yeah, still with a sleeveless turtleneck, which is pretty funny. So for this, you have to get your opponent into the casket that is at the top of the ramp and shut the lid to win, obviously. So Christian tries to run away early, and Jungle Boy chases him into the stand. So we get some crowd brawling there. We see that Jungle Boy's mother and sister are watching from the front row, and they are shown many times throughout this. Right, I thought his sister did a good job of looking both concerned at points and kind of thrilled and like into it because it's her brother kicking Christian's butt or whatever. I thought she did a good job.
Although I think Christian should have been more of a dick before the match.
Me too.
Like in the promo,
like he was when we really liked him.
Right, because he was like
super
harsh to his family, and I love that.
Christian pulls off Jack's belt at one point and starts whipping him with it. Christian opens the casket and he's prepared. He's got
you did call the casket.
He got some steel chairs in there, although I was hoping Luchasaurus would be in there. I was waiting for that.
I was kind of hoping for that.
So Christian attempts the kill switch on the ramp. Jungle Boy shoves Christian off the ramp onto the floor. Then Cage narrowly escapes a chair shot from Jungle Boy and hits a low blow. We get dirt thrown into Jungle Boy's eyes. A concerto attempt by Christian, but Jungle Boy fights it off with a shovel. Snare trap with the shovel in Christian's mouth for some added leverage, which was a cool visual. And then Jungle Boy finally summons the courage after sitting and thinking. Oh no, he thinks more before he closes the lid, right? Mm-hmm. He hits the concerto of his own, rolls Christian.
He doesn't want to suffocate Christian.
I felt like he had to roll him a little bit too far, and that Christian at some point had to be like, okay, I got to help you and crawl a little bit, but whatever. So he gets him in the casket, but then Jungle Boy kind of sits there and waits a little bit before closing the lid, and he does win the match after about 15 minutes. I actually quite like this. I thought it was entertaining, physical match. Felt a little bit short considering like the supposed bitterness of this feud. But granted, like Christian got injured.
Somewhat gravitas they put on it.
Christian got injured and it kind of cooled things off, right? They were kind of trying to stall to get back around to this. But I thought this was good. I liked it better than the opener, but I still don't think it was a fantastic match. But fun to watch. Maybe not up to the standards of other AEW specialty matches on this show, even, I would say. And again, the end of a feud that I think should end at this point, and I'm wondering what each of them will do next. But I like this match as well. I don't think it was amazing, but I was entertained.
Mm-hmm.
You?
I don't know. I thought it was pretty good. Like, I don't know, the stipulation was okay. It was like a casket match, but you gotta walk more.
Right, you had to go farther up there, yeah.
Yeah, why would you even go to the ring? Because then you're just kind of putting yourself at a disadvantage. But I don't know, it was solid. It kind of lacked something if it was supposed to be this big finale kind of deal, but I mean, as long as this is done, I think that's fine, because the injury kind of stretched this out longer than it had to be. Like,
for sure.
This should have been at Full Gear maybe, or something.
And it kind of put Luchasaurus in a weird spot, and now I don't know where he is or what he's doing, but
right. Yeah. So yeah, it was pretty solid, but nothing amazing. Still kind of waiting for this to pick up right at this point.
And it will at this point, because we get the AEW World Trios Championship match. That's the Elite, Kenny Omega, Young Bucks. Matt and Nick Jackson, obviously, taking on the House of Black, which is Brody King, Buddy Matthews, and Malachi Black, with Julia Hart, ever integral to the House of Black's success.
Of course.
But anyways, although she does play a role in this match, right? So at some point. So Don Callis joins us for commentary for this match, and this is just, I don't know what to tell you. This is fantastic action throughout this. Like, pretty much what you would expect from these six, right? Like, how are they going to put on a bad match, this group? You have Omega drilling Malachi Black with Snapdragon suplexes. At one point, as I said, Julia Hart does get on the apron in an attempt to distract Kenny Omega, and Omega ends up inadvertently knocking her off the apron with a V-trigger, right?
And that was pretty sweet.
And then he just kind of shrugs, like, I tried not to, but you stayed there, and stuff happens, right? House of Black end up grabbing Kenny and spike him with Dante's Inferno. And the House of Black had Omega surrounded in the ring, but the Bucks pull Buddy and Brody out of the ring before landing super kicks to the House of Black. The Elite hit Black with the BTE trigger, but Matthews comes in to break up the pin attempt.
My boy.
Matt Jackson calls for the Meltzer driver, right? But Buddy Matthews counters.
Like, they shout BTE trigger and he shouted Meltzer driver. It's like Power Rangers here. He's just calling out what he's about to do. It's like it's a good strategy, trust me.
But it ends up with Matt Jackson taking. Although was this
Power Rangers do always win? So
they do. I think it was screened the Dante's Inferno, or was it an earlier one?
I think it was the earlier one where Matthews was kind of.
And then we see the one at the end, right?
I
Matt Jackson takes Dante's Inferno. Crazy match. We have new champions that I'm sure you picked and I didn't. Is that correct?
Yes, I did call this, so I win.
So 18 minutes of just like non-stop rock, right?
I love this. This is awesome.
You did love this.
Is
I did too.
Front runner for match of the year, at least at the moment.
I added it to the list.
Definitely if we do a trio, I think we can do a trios match of the year this year. And this is my front runner. I like this. I think I like this more than Escalero de la Muerte. Just because I think Elite Death Triangle had better moves. This is awesome though. I loved it. It was thoroughly entertaining. This was like my first thing that I really enjoyed on the show.
Match of the night?
Probably, yeah. I don't.
So different from other ones I really liked.
That's true, right? It's like,
but hard to say. I don't know,
but it's definitely. It might be my favorite.
I think so
I don't know
too.
if it's objectively the best.
Agree.
But it was definitely the one I got the most enjoyment out of.
And like you said, part of it was the show was good up to this point, and then this match was next level, right? So fantastic. I think my favorite match on the show.
Yes, it was awesome.
Any combination of these 6 was interesting to me, right? Doesn't matter how you want to partner them up.
And I'm really happy House of Black got the win. I think it could help
me
them
too.
A lot.
I think the build could have been stronger, but
the build was not the best part.
In terms of in-ring, like no complaints, right? I love trios matches in general, and these 6 are just super talented. And I thought Brody King looked like a monster in this. So his face paint looked awesome as well.
He looks so insane when he's just like completely painted.
And Dante's Inferno is sick looking, and I'm glad they're protecting it. And it's like ending really, really huge matches for them, right? Because you should not be kicking out of Dante's Inferno, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah, it's like the Gonzo Bomb, but
it is
like
right,
an assisted kind of thing.
Yeah. So I'm happy House of Black have the titles, but I really hope that AEW is going to spend a bit of time adding depth to their character and their act, since outside of being like dark and spooky, amazing wrestlers, I don't really know much else about them. And I don't know if you've heard these rumors too, but there's rumors of Omega going back to a singles run.
That would be cool.
So taking the titles off the Elite makes sense in hindsight. I was a bit surprised that their run was kind of short, right, with the trios.
Yeah, I know I predicted, but I'm surprised they actually kind of like in that way.
Because it felt like these titles were coming into existence for them, right? And then they don't hold them for very long necessarily. But awesome match. Really happy that it just basically means House of Black have to get focused on, right? Which is what we've been waiting for.
Which that's what I'm saying. I feel like this will help their presentation a lot, because they kind of have to be focused, and it's a good division, I think, to be kind of focused
for sure.
In, so
especially like I want, and I'll say it later, but Top Flight and AR Fox to stay as a trios team and just keep...
I think that's one of the teams I really like enjoy. I don't know if they'll ever win the titles.
No, but
maybe eventually, but they're
a flesh out the division.
They're
right?
a great challenger. Yeah,
agree. Our next match on Revolution was the Women's World Championship match, which was Hayter defending. She has Britt Baker with her as well.
Speaking of a fire trio hat.
Defending against Ruby Soho. Whose side is she on?
Whose side will she be on?
And Saraya with Toni Storm, obviously as a lackey for a weak heel character, because that's what Toni Storm deserves, I guess. I don't know. Weird. But anyways, crowd brawling early on in this one as well. Hayter plants Saraya on the ring apron. Ruby then hits a suplex to Saraya. Hayter then hits Soho with the Hayter breaker. So Ruby hits Saraya with Destination Unknown, but Hayter was there to break up the pin.
That's the crummy sister Abigail, right?
It is. Ruby went for a kick. Hayter ducked it. Hayter rolled up Ruby Soho for the win after 10 minutes. Storm gets in the ring after the match, begins to attack Hayter. Baker comes out to even the odds, but Saraya and Storm basically swarm Britt Baker. Ruby tosses Saraya out of the ring, tosses Storm out of the ring. Ruby gets screaming in the face, right? Like, you don't run this place. This is our home, bitches, or whatever. And basically, yeah. We get a sudden no future to Hayter.
Oh my god.
A destination
the riot kick,
unknown to Baker. And we now know what side Ruby Soho is on. The question is, do you care?
Nope.
And what'd you think of the match?
I'm not interested nor surprised that she did that. And it's just, I don't care. The match was okay.
Wouldn't it make sense if you're going to do this within the match so that you can get the title off Hayter? Instead of waiting for Hayter to defend.
No, she's just mad that she lost, and she's like...
And that pushed her over the edge into heeldom?
I guess. That was part of the explanation I think I got, but like, I don't know.
Match, you were saying it was okay?
It was, I don't know, it wasn't that interesting to me. Again, it was just
short,
like,
I thought. Like 10 minutes for this whole like NWO invasion, and what side is she on?
I don't think we can call it that.
We can't, but you're right. But like...
Yeah.
So... I thought Soho looked pretty good, actually, but it felt really short and uneventful for the energy they tried to put into this, right? I thought, I don't know. This was supposed to be a which side is Soho on, and you and I both don't care at all about that. So the aftermath also was kind of like, okay, fine, I don't really care, right? I guess, a fine triple threat, but short and never really seemed like it got going. And I don't love that this is, again, really like Jamie Hayter. Don't like that this is so far the legacy, right? Like a feud with Saraya doesn't look good, man.
No.
She's not.
She was probably like the least notable part of this match to me, and I don't even think Soho was like amazing.
No, it was, I don't know. It's just, I want better for Hayter on this title run, but I don't know who her, like, defining
I think she's very good with the Shida match that we like, but where'd Shida go?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. So then we get the Texas Death Match next, and that is Moxley taking on Hangman Page, and my goodness, this match was nuts. So the ref, obviously I'm not going to keep saying it, but he will be counting after many of the big spots in this. I just didn't want to keep saying, and the ref counts to 5.
Yeah, it's basically last man standing, or you can submit.
Right. So I noted, remember I was laughing at Excalibur's comment. Do you remember what he said about Mox? Because you missed it and I told you. A stiff breeze could make Mox bleed.
Oh, yeah.
Which was pretty funny. So Paige jumps Moxley as Moxley's making his entrance, and we're barbed wire right away, right? Like Paige is cutting Mox's head with
There's a barbed wire board.
There's tons. Mox is punching Paige with a barbed wire fist. Then we get a fork is introduced from Moxley's boot, and he stabs and scrapes Hangman's forehead. This was a lot for people in the crowd, and you could see that some people were pretty upset by all of this. Mox then gets a barbed wire chair, wedges it in the corner, and it's Paige that ends up running into that head first. And I think they showed like the bird's eye view at one point, and it looked pretty cool. Then we have Paige in a single leg crab on top of a barbed wire chair. Then Mox gets power bombed onto chairs set up, like 2 chairs set up. He missed the. Remember, it was set up back to back, and he missed that.
I always remember
thankfully.
that as the Adam Cole spot.
It is. So I'm happy. I didn't really need them to take that spot on top of everything else, so I was okay with
that's like
just hitting a chair.
They toasted the one chair though for sure.
Hangman tries his best to wrap some barbed wire around his torso, right, and hits a moonsault to the floor. Moxley then introduces a chain and some bricks. At first,
because why not have some bricks?
He stomps Hangman's hand between the 2 bricks. We get a pile driver to Paige on a chair. Mox tries to hog tie him with the chain. So Mox sets up a barbed wire board outside the ring on using 2 chairs as well. And then Mox takes a fallaway slam onto a barbed wire chair, and then a dead eye onto a chair as well. And obviously, I'm sure at this point there's blood everywhere. Everybody's bleeding everywhere. Paige is eventually pushed off the top and through the barbed wire board that they set up earlier. We get a King Kong lariat. Buckshot is countered into a Death Rider. Paige then gets curb stomped onto the bricks. We get finishing sequence, brick to Mox's head, Buckshot lariat. Mox has the chain wrapped around.
I don't know why.
He's that is a little bit of a question. So he's wearing it like Hercules Hernandez or Bruiser Brody. And so
Hercules, that's what I was thinking.
The Buckshot lariat takes Mox over the rope, and he ends up sort of hanging by the chain around his neck.
Hangman.
And that is one of my notes too. And Paige then starts pulling on the chain as Mox is basically about to die here. So Moxley has no choice but to tap after about 25 minutes here. So the Hangman wins a brutal match by hanging his opponent, right? So
this was bad. He didn't have his theme. Bad match.
That was ridiculous.
That was bad.
And I don't really care as much as you about those things, but Hangman's new theme, and they went back to the old one.
Yeah, I'll talk about that later. But I forget what the song was, but I looked it up and I was just like, no, thanks.
It's especially because the original one is perfect.
It's
perfect for him.
It's probably my favorite current theme.
You can identify it right away. It fits his character. It's good. It's
perfect, and I don't know. I just love the sound of that. And then the one, it's just like, I don't know why we need another real song in here, right? And it's just like, it doesn't fit him as well. Then he had like the Fiend lighting in his entrance, all the red lighting. And I was just like, I think
it was like objectively worse. Like I don't think there's a person out there going, that is an improvement, and maybe that's why the switch back.
And it was a little too cowboy for me. Like it was like it feels more fitting in a Western movie. Like
no, his original theme with the horse trotting on the Tron is perfect.
Oh, they changed the Tron I think too, right? And they reverted back. It's like I love it's Ghost Town Triumph is the one.
Yeah,
that's good. I love that so much. So it sucked that I didn't have it here. That was a downer for me, but that doesn't actually affect the match. The match was pretty insane. There was a lot of
nuts,
crazy stuff here. Like I don't know how often you can say you've seen bricks in a wrestling match.
Right.
The finish was definitely pretty unique. At least it wasn't like too overboard with that. Like obviously it was kind of like, aggressive and like it wasn't too like gruesome or whatever. Like it wasn't like Moxley tapped out fairly fast. Like it wasn't over the line. I feel like but there was a lot of crazy stuff here. The chair spots was nice. Obviously barbed wire in here, and Moxley was a mess. But I thought it was really good. And if this is it, then it would be a good end.
A fitting end for sure. And these matches are not always my favorite, but this one was an absolute spectacle.
And Hangman worked solid in these because last year he beat Archer and Adam Cole in 2 different ones.
So I'll remember this one probably, which is not the case of all of them. They had
that's all another good thing about it, right? Because that especially the finish is going to be something memorable too, right? And for me, I'll probably remember the bricks.
These guys have had multiple matches, right? But they went for it all here in the sort of the closeout to this series, I guess. Just bloody, violent, but engaging as well. Like, I really enjoyed it. And again, I'm not always enjoying these matches. These two, I think, just work really well together, right? And the punishment they're willing to take and dish out is incredible. I probably like a match just as much or more than this without all the deathmatch stuff, but
I don't mind this because they haven't done this yet.
Both grown men, grown adults wanting to do this, go ahead, I'll watch it, right? This was, I think, a really, really well done Texas deathmatch, and this is a variety on this show is one of my favorite things. Like, this is a legit deathmatch. This doesn't feel like deathmatch light, really. I'm sure there wasn't light tubes and glass and stuff, but these guys, I agree. So I enjoyed watching this. I think if you didn't see this and you're not super squeamish, then this is a match I would say you should see off of this show.
At this point, is my second favorite.
Right, agree. TNT Championship match is next. We get the King of Television.
Yes, sir.
Samoa Joe defending against Wardlow. And so Powerhouse Hobbs is here scouting this match because he'll face the winner. I think he was shown up in the stand somewhere, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, with his ring.
We get an early tope to the floor by Joe with the forearm or elbow that he always does. A senton atomico by Wardlow. Wardlow, I think it was a whisper in the wind, right? He's done it before where he runs up the ropes and sort of flips off. We get Joe attempting a muscle buster, but Wardlow counters it with a powerbomb out of the corner. Wardlow headbutts Samoa Joe and then grapevines him with a choke. And what? Wardlow chokes out Samoa Joe with his own hold to become the TNT champion after 10 minutes. I thought this... I didn't think this was great.
Yeah.
Agree. And a bit short again for a pay-per-view title match, 10 minutes.
And I don't love that Wardlow did that.
I do not like Joe tapping out to his own move at all. I thought Wardlow showcased some stuff, which is fine, but this isn't what I wanted. And like compare it to at least one or two of the Darby Allin Joe matches, right? Like no comparison for me. It's just, I don't know. I like to see Joe just beating the crap out of people and somebody being resilient and fighting back, like Darby, I guess. And this, I don't think the match was bad, but underwhelming is probably the word you used, and I would probably agree with that. Any other thoughts?
I honestly don't remember that much because it was okay, but it wasn't crazy memorable. And I agree, the Darby Allin matches were much better, especially the last one, I think.
Yeah.
And the finish, I'm not a big fan of, especially because this ends Joe's.
I just want Joe to look strong at all times, and tapping out to your own submission is not a strong look, right? I don't know why they needed to do that unless it continues. I don't know. But
yeah, and I feel like this time when Joe loses, I don't know if Joe's getting the title back.
I think maybe it's Joe heads to Ring of Honor and
that sucks.
Trolls around there.
I'm gonna miss King of TV Joe.
I'm still watching Ring of Honor so far.
It still feels too short-lived though.
I agree.
I feel like the double belts King of TV, that just it hits different. But I mean, hopefully this brings us to Hobbs, which it will. So that's okay.
Yep.
But Wardlow can't even keep his own belt, so he's a crappy champion.
He lost all his stuff. Car got broken into. Then we get the AEW Tag Team Championship match. That's the Guns, Austin and Colton, taking on the Acclaimed, Bowens and Caster, with Daddy Ass, obviously. I don't even like saying that. It'll be Billy Gunn the rest of the way. Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett with Sanjay Dutt and Satnam Singh, and Orange Cassidy and Danhausen to infuse a little comedy into this match. So at some point, Danhausen had a face-off with Satnam Singh, right? Danhausen's about to curse Satnam when Sanjay interferes, and then Billy Gunn jumps in and hits a famouser on Satnam, so he gets a little bit of a spot here. And then the Guns come in and double low blow their own father.
Dastardly villains.
Austin Gunn gets hit with the arrival and then the mic drop, but Colton is there to break up the pinfall. Jarrett grabs a guitar, swings it at Caster, Max takes the guitar away from Jarrett, but before he could use it, Aubrey takes it from him because, anyways, I'll come back to that. Lethal ends up cracking Max with the Golden Globe, and I have issues around that too. Austin then makes a blind tag, and Danhausen tags in as well. The Guns hit Danhausen with, I guess it's the 310 to Yuma is what I'm hearing it's called. And they pin Danhausen.
The what?
The 310
wasn't it
to
like
Yuma. It was a movie. I don't know where.
It was the flapjack into the flatliner. Remember Leo Rush and Yo did?
Yeah.
In New Japan, they stole that.
So they pin Danhausen. They retain that, they being the Guns, in about 14 minutes.
Wow,
Renee Paquette.
That's pretty short.
Renee Paquette interviews the Guns after the match. FTR interrupt to brawl with the Guns to a nice reaction.
How was Dax bleeding? I still don't get it.
Right, he was suddenly bleeding from like the temple almost. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, didn't see what happened.
I don't get it.
So parts of this match really annoyed me. So we're told early on it's no DQ since it's multi-team, which I always think is stupid. You can just enforce the same rules no matter how many people or how many tag teams are in it. I don't understand why more than 2 means there's no rules anymore. But anyways.
I don't mind that for like 4 ways and 3 ways or whatever. But like with the tag match, it's a little different because like there's tag rules. I don't know.
And that's my first problem. We see lots of heels obeying tag rules for quite a while. Why would they ever do that? That annoys me
more when it's a 2-on-2 street fight. With this one, I feel like it's a little different, but it's still annoying.
Because there's heels. Why would they be following rules that don't exist in this match? You have the referee stopping a guitar shot. Why? You have referees stopping people from cheating in other ways in this. Why? You have heels hiding the weapon that they use to win from the ref. Why? It was super annoying to me. It's like you go out of your way to tell us there is no DQ, but then everything I see is the opposite of that. So some of the action in this was fine. Bit too much
I was going to say a little too much comedy.
My favorite line is like a lot of moving parts, right? And I think Taz uses that sometimes too. Yeah, a lot of moving parts, a little bit too much comedy and other stuff. Some entertaining moments, I guess, and at the end of the day, it adds to the variety of match types on this show, right? This is kind of more the following like a bloodbath and stuff and a casket match. You've got a little bit of lighter fare here. The sucky
part to me is that this was their tag title match. Like if this was something else, I wouldn't mind. But I don't know. I'd like an actual tag match. Like the one last year was sweet.
It's like you're right. It pales in comparison. I guess this is like the palate cleanser from the really serious stuff. I'm glad FTR are back. And they better elevate this division, right? Because it's kind of
it's kind of a low period.
I agree. So maybe it's intentional, and FTR. I don't know why you would do it intentionally, but it would make FTR sort of elevating the division again that much more satisfying because it is in a low point right now.
Yeah.
Any thoughts from you?
I don't know. It's an okay match. Again, like too much of the stuff I don't really care about. Like casting Danhausen just existing in the tag title match means to me like this isn't. It's not gonna be super serious. It's not really what I want.
Same.
Like it was fine in parts, but I don't remember paying attention to this a whole lot, which is I guess telling. And like I don't know, it just pales in comparison to last year, where I feel like there was a better narrative there. There was better match there, and like
every part of
it wasn't there. It was just better in general, and it wasn't even a 4-way. Like which in theory should make it more interesting, but this is just I don't know. Honestly, like, as not interesting as it would be, I would be more interested in just Guns versus the Acclaim, because at least that's just the story.
Same.
You're not diluting it with a bunch of other random crap I don't care about. But also, like, I hope they keep doing the Revolution Tag Battle Royals to, like, set up a 3-way match, but I hope they do it better next year.
Yeah, I don't mind the idea. The execution
I like that being a continuous
great.
thing, because I don't mind having, like, that's going to be the tag titles thing every year.
Yeah.
Like, there's always going to be, like, an eliminator tournament. There's always going to be, like, a casino some sort of match. Like I don't mind that being like there's always going to be this for the tag titles, but I just hope they do it better, because last year showed they could utilize that really well.
Yeah,
but I think that's what they need to keep doing, not something like this year.
So I think this match generally sum it up for both of us. We had low expectations and it delivered.
Yeah, I guess.
Basically.
Yeah.
So then we move into the main event, which is the AEW World Championship 60-minute plus, as it turns out, Iron Man match between MJF defending against Bryan Danielson. So one thing I'll say throughout this, because I didn't make specific note of it, MJF is grabbing bottles of water from under the ring and taking several gulps, right? Just, I don't know, 4, 5 times, multiple times throughout the match anyways. So MJF is targeting Danielson's shoulder pretty much right away in this, as he should, because that was part of the build up to this, right? And then MJF at some point tweaks his knee, right? So Danielson's sort of zeroing in on that a little bit. So lots of action back and forth. Obviously, it's a 60-minute match. Before Danielson hits the Busaiku knee, he gets the first fall just over 20 minutes into the match. Then I like this detail. MJF hits a low blow, so he right in front of the referee. So he loses a DQ fall, but then he gains 2 immediate pinfalls because we learn there is no rest period between pinfalls.
Which
right?
I like.
Yeah, me too. So he makes 2 pinfalls right away, goes for a third that Danielson kicks out of. So it's 2-2 at that point. And then we get a really big elbow drop from MJF to Danielson through a table at ringside. Looked really good. And then you love this too. I know you did. MJF tombstones. The table's already been shattered, but one end of it is still at like a diagonal, and he tombstones Danielson through that remaining chunk of the table. It looked great.
That looked really cool.
It did. And so then I think shortly after that, MJF hits the Heat Seeker, and that is a pinfall for him. So MJF's now up 3-2. We're about 40 minutes in at that point. Danielson then starts to take over. Spider suplex, diving headbutt, a submission hold. I forget what it was specifically. MJF has to tap out, and we're even at 3. Both men are bleeding, but especially MJF, right? He was pouring blood at this point. Submissions now back and forth, headbutt exchange, near fall off of a second Heat Seeker from MJF. We get a crazy pile driver off the ropes by MJF, but it further hurts his knee, so I don't think he's able to make the pinfall there, right? We get a single leg crab to MJF, and he has to tap out, but unfortunately time had already expired, so we end at 3-3. They announce a draw. Tony Schiavone kind of hustles down to the ring, and obviously we get 5 more minutes, as you would expect. So MJF tries to use what's the ring called? The ring he always hits.
Dynamite Diamond.
That one. He tries to use it, but Danielson hits another Busaiku knee for a really nice near fall in the overtime session here. So the finish comes when Danielson puts MJF in a single leg crab. MJF grabs the bottom rope and then taps, right? So Danielson didn't see MJF grab the ropes. All he heard was MJF tapping, so he assumes that he won, and that allows MJF to crack Danielson with an oxygen tank. It was introduced earlier in the match. I didn't mention it, so it's kind of lingering right beside the ring skirt, right? So kind of a nice spot there. MJF uses it, the ref doesn't see, and then MJF puts Danielson in the label lock just to add further insult to injury here, and Danielson has no choice but to tap out. So MJF retains the title in what was this, like 65-minute Iron Man match. I'll go. I thought this was incredible. An excellent main event, and Iron Man matches can drag at some points. And yes, this was incredibly long, but I thought this was interesting pretty much throughout. I imagine it's been well received. I haven't really seen too much yet, but I'm interested to see what people thought of this match. It told the story, right, of MJF almost being able to hang with Danielson. But in the end, he has to take a shortcut and use the oxygen tank to retain his title. The table spots looked awesome. The blatant cheating to sacrifice a fall but gain 2, I thought was a really nice detail too. I'm a sucker for injury targeting, so we got lots of that. They both sold their injuries really well. Cool spots, near falls, a steady pace throughout considering it was 65 minutes. Lots of blood, obviously. Danielson did what you knew he was going to do, right? He's the king of these matches. It's going to be awesome. MJF continues to solidify himself, right? He's in the best shape of his life. He's looking super jacked at this point. And he, in my opinion, he can hang with the best wrestler in the world for 65 minutes. So he's more than just an amazing talker. I think he still gets sort of sold short on his in-ring work, which I think after this match we can say is pretty awesome. He held his own storyline and in real life here, so I thought this was a fantastic match. When push comes to shove, I'll probably take the trios match ahead of this, just because 65 minutes is a slog. I won't.
No matter what,
it's not rewatchable to me. Even though I love this match,
at least not right now. I might watch it
in the future, distant future. But I'm not sitting down for knowing it over
not
an hour.
Not itching to watch it again, like the trios match, maybe.
Fantastic match. So, your thoughts?
I liked it a lot. Obviously, there was a lot to digest, of course, I think it was really well done. MJF made good use of the arm targeting. That's been kind of a story throughout. And then I find it funny how he always goes for the avalanche tombstone or whatever, and it always hurts his knee, every single time.
Figure it out, bud. You're supposed to be smart.
You're right. But I like the early fall with like the DQ. I thought that was really smart. And I thought the finish worked really well too. And I think it all gets made better by Danielson's promo on Dynamite, which I'll talk about later. Like that adds so many layers to it.
Agree.
But I'll kind of get to that later. But I thought it was really well done. Like for an over hour match, like it was really good. Like I think when Danielson did it with Hangman, that was awesome too. I think this was just as good. And I think MJF really proving his wrestling chops here, I agree, was really nice to see because he's regarded as one of the best heels, if not the best heel of this generation, at least like right now. And I think he should get more credit for his in-ring stuff, especially here. Like he can do a good match with pretty much anyone.
And this just makes his price go up as a free agent in 24, right?
Yeah,
like it's
I
now
really
like
hope they keep him because I want
he's the complete package. Other than he's not 6'4" for WWE.
I want him in AEW. I think that's
Me too.
where he works best.
He's a generational talent, probably.
That's what he says.
I know. It's true.
Yeah, but this is awesome, though. And obviously, the result, no doubt. But
yep. Overall, I thought another strong pay-per-view offering. They've never disappointed. Even if I had paid for it, I wouldn't have been disappointed. Not among their strongest, I don't think. Some of the builds to some of the matches were lackluster, right? Even for matches that I was looking forward to seeing, like the Trios Championship, for example. The build wasn't great, but the match I knew was going to be amazing, and it was. I really like the variety of match types, right? You have some specialty matches, you have some straight-up matches, you have like a little bit of a comedy match even mixed in there. So that I really like the variety there. I thought 3 outstanding matches on this show. Trios title match, probably my favorite. Texas Death, surprised how much I enjoyed that. And the main event, I think, was fantastic. Jungle Boy Christian, I thought, was the next best thing. And then the opener, the tag match, and the women's match, and Joe and Wardlow being kind of like fine to good. You know what I mean? So I'm torn between a B and a B plus because like a lot of the stuff I didn't think was amazing, but like this is a show that had 3 awesome matches on it. So then what are you saying? Maybe I'd
go B plus because I
that's what I had written
the trios
down.
match.
Me too.
The death match was pretty sweet, and the Iron Man match, while like it was long, that does mean it also takes up a lot of the show, and that was really good, right?
I do have B plus written down. So
I'll go with that as well.
If one of the other matches had been,
I think we should have maybe got more from one of them, or maybe a better tag title match, then it would have been even better. But I think it was still a really good show.
I do too.
And for the picks, you want to guess?
I lost by at least 2, I think, maybe 3.
6-6.
What?
I'm pretty sure.
How?
Because I picked the TNT title match wrong. You picked. Oh wait.
I don't feel like I won.
I think you did. Wait.
I feel like you won.
No, because so I picked Starks and you didn't.
Yeah.
I picked House of Black and you didn't. But
you're up
you
2.
picked Hangman and I didn't.
Okay.
And you picked Wardlow and I didn't.
So we tied.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
So there were 4 different ones.
Good for me.
They all worked out in someone's favor.
We still tied.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, well, that wraps up AEW pay-per-view, and then we're going to move swiftly into their weekly offering by taking a look at AEW Dynamite. All right, so we're here to talk about Dynamite after behind the curtain. We just ran and you've got a hot chocolate with as much whipped cream as gravity can withstand, basically, and marshmallows. And I've got the,
maybe a little more because, it was leaning.
Just like peanut butter and jelly go together, I've got coffee and raspberries.
I thought you were going to say hot chocolate and whipped cream, but sure.
No, I was just saying, ironically, coffee and raspberries.
And you also had a PB&J today, so.
I did. I got a produce guy, I got an inside, so I got the best raspberries in the business here. I was asking if you personally stand behind each one of these raspberries.
I do not. I would have given you moldy ones, but
they
I don't
are
think
good.
We had any.
But yeah, you're on to talk about Dynamite while I drink coffee and eat raspberries, so go ahead and do that.
As one does, right?
As one does. As you do.
As you do. Okay, so we start off with Orange Cassidy versus Jay Lethal for the then non-level upped AEW All Atlantic Championship.
You had to say it right away. I just Yep.
And did I put a segment? I don't think I think I forgot to put the segment in here.
I took it out of my news, but I have it in there. When it comes up, I have.
I'll mention it now just because it's easy. So like Tony Khan had an announcement later on that they're changing the All Atlantic title to the AEW International Championship next week for Cassidy versus Jeff Jarrett, because obviously Jeff Jarrett's getting title shots in 2023.
Correct.
It's being leveled up
So it really annoyed me because they're going out of their way to use that term, and it's like they felt very Vince to me, where they're like, okay, we're changing the name of this title, but listen, it sounds lame to say we're changing the title's name. So what can we say? Well, what about Level Up? That's like video game speak. That's cool and hip. Yes, that's it. Now, make sure you guys work in Level Up at least 5 times in this. And it just... So my note, because I just found it, I just have Tony Khan, and then underneath it says, an awkward man announces a bad match and a championship name change tied to a movie promotion, ? Already tired of the phrase leveling up. There's my...
Poor Tony Khan. He's definitely like...
He's an awkward dude.
No, I do...
Doesn't bother me.
I kind of like it, though, because it's...
It's different.
Then you know it's really him, though. Like,
right.
It feels more authentic to me, where Vince, like, last time he was on TV, he's, like, put on a whole facade. Like, he
became Mr. McMahon, which was a character, and then he's just forever written that out, it feels like.
Right. So, like, to me, like, Tony Khan is him, right?
I agree.
Like, I don't know. At least I like that, but I don't know. Yeah, so the title is indeed Leveling Up, for those who... didn't know. The next level is next week.
Begs the question: can it level up from there?
How do you? Okay, so
we're international.
So we go to All Atlantic, then we're going to international. Or do we go intercontinental? Because continents
bigger than nations.
Yeah,
already taken though.
That's true, but like,
so what do? You can't go universal up, even. Though.
That's true, or a world title.
Intergalactic
championship.
Intergalactic is nice.
Or like, the funniest thing would be, because you can't do it, but like, because
use your words.
I've seen so the one guy who does a figure fed, he does it for fun, or like the one I watch New Legacy, they do like, they have a weekly defended title. They have their main one. They have instead of IWGP, they have WGGP, which is Wrestling Games Grand Prix. Instead of a main title, and they have a multiversal title. That's the final level. Nice. We're transcending universes.
And that's the final boss sort of deal.
That'll be our final level up, and then it'll be like max level achieved.
And I guess that's why it feels WWE, because they literally have a show called Level Up.
They do.
Where they take out the vowels to make it more trendy.
To make it cooler.
Yeah.
At least this one's like, they're using the words.
They are.
It's like adding 2 Ks in a name,
or a Z instead of an S.
Or taking out someone's last name, because that's cool.
It is.
Ava. So we have lots of back and forth in the early going with a lot of counters. There's some leg targeting from Lethal. There's a shin breaker into the ring post from Lethal, which is kind of cool.
Yep.
Cassie with the diving DDT. Lethal got Cassie in the figure 4 until Cassie eventually got the rope break. Lethal Gorilla press drops Cassie on the bad leg, then kicks the leg out, which was kind of cool.
Kicks his leg out of his leg.
Cassie gets the knees up on an elbow drop attempt from Lethal. Then Lethal counters an orange punch with a cutter for 2.
I like that.
The finish comes when he goes for a lethal injection, but collapses on the bad arm. Then Cassie hits an orange punch for the win.
I like that too.
Then Jared attacked him after or whatever. I don't really care.
Yeah, post-match attack. How original, right? That's the only one we'll see tonight, probably, right? Right? No. Matchup wasn't exactly fresh, right? But Lethal continues just to be a super valuable quality opponent that doesn't need to win. And I did enjoy this match overall. Cassidy wants to work fast and use his element of surprise, and then Lethal's a little more deliberate and wants to like steadily wear you down, and I think that worked well together here. Lethal's like fluid and smooth, and Cassidy's like quick and sudden kind of idea. I liked the finish with Lethal selling the injured shoulder on the handspring and sort of collapsing. I don't think there was any chance Lethal was winning, but I thought it was a good opening match, and it was given a decent amount of time, like 15 minutes, which is longer than a couple matches we talked about on Revolution, which I thought was like 50% longer than a couple matches on
How
Revolution.
long was this one?
15.
That is longer than some.
There's a couple that were 10, right? So, yeah, I liked it. I didn't absolutely love it, but I liked it. You? That's where you speak. Say things of relevance.
Okay. I thought it was a solid opener. I think they had better matches before, but this one was solid as well. I think Lethal looks weird with the weird boots instead of the kick pads. I like the kick pads
I don't even
better.
notice that.
I do.
You do point it out, but I don't notice it until you do.
Good. Nothing amazing, but quality action here. The knee targeting from Lethal was decent. Makes sense with the figure 4, which is funny because JR also used that. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think Jared also does figure 4, right?
He does.
So
I thought you said JR, and I'm looking at you like, no. JR slapping figure 4s on people?
Yeah, Jared.
Yes, he does.
But it didn't feel like Cassie did a lot here. The finish was cool, but I wish, like, there have been more previous damage to Lethal's arm because it felt kind of out of nowhere for me, like other than the elbow drop spot.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that didn't necessitate that kind of finish, but it was cool. Like if you don't think about it too much.
You just turn your brain off. It's good.
Would have been cooler if the elbow drop happened earlier, than maybe Cassie had actually gone after the arm a bit, or like he hit in the post or something. Solid opener nonetheless, but to me, Cassie's reign is still missing something. Personally, if you ask me, I think his title reign needs to level up, but
yes, it could.
He's had some good matches, but just like some quality that had me interested with Darby's defenses isn't here. I don't know if that's just down to it being Darby, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of the dangers of like the almost seemingly open challenge thing is that like there's not builds, right? Like it's kind of like just
the funny
opponent
thing
after
to me
opponent.
was when Tony Khan's promo, he said Orange Cassidy requested an open challenge match against Jeff Jarrett.
That's not.
I don't think that's how that works.
That's less open than you think.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's
but
closed to one person.
Specifically one person. Yes. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, like just something about his reign. Like he's had some solid matches. Like the Yuta one was really good, but like there's just not that excitement to me. And I don't. Maybe it's just because it's Cassidy. I don't know. Like it's been a solid run. Like they've done a good job of keeping the title meaningful. Like
I don't think
actually not meaningful, but prominent. Because I feel like if anyone's getting a shot, then I don't know.
I don't think he needs a title, and I don't think the character as we know him would care about having a title that much. So
maybe that's why he just defends it all the time. I guess that kind of works then.
I don't know if it's helping him in any way, but anyways, it's fine. I guess it doesn't bother me. The matches are being decent.
It helps keep the title prominent.
It does,
at least, right? So there is that.
Yep.
But like level this up, you know.
Yep.
As they say, as they will say. Next, we get a Powerhouse Hobbs interview. A couple times Renee calls him Will Hobbs. So
and Wardlow's car is broken into. We're told that too quickly.
Yes, that as well. Hobbs says what happened to Wardlow is unfortunate and his life is in shambles, and that wouldn't happen to Hobbs. And the one thing Wardlow has left is being called champion, and he's taking that tonight. Although somehow there was a belt later. Don't ask me.
Yeah.
Short promo from Hobbs though, but it was delivered well. It works with the recent development. I like this, even though it was short.
Me too. Short. He sounded good. What he said made sense. I like the whole the only thing you. Like working in the recent issues with Wardlow in real life into that and just going like, I'm going to take the only thing you have left, and that's being called champion. So at this point, I put, he's cool. I hope he wins.
Mm-hmm. He might.
He's got a chance.
Next, we hear from Ricky Starks in the ring. He talked about week after week, he's taken down Jazz and Jericho, and then people are asking him what's next, and he said he's not sure. The question is not what he's going to do next, but where he's going to go next. Ooh, I don't know what that means.
Significant difference, right, between those two things?
Because one's a place. And so, yeah. Then the Bullet Club logo thing appears, and it's like, that's the Bullet Club intro. But then...
I said Chris Bay?
Noticeably to me, it wasn't the exact Bullet Club theme. Like
I didn't notice.
I know that Bullet Club theme anywhere, and
I believe you.
That wasn't it. And that's because it was a different theme, because it was Juice Robinson. He attacked Starks from behind, spiked him with a neck breaker. So I thought the promo was fine. Wasn't too long before he was interrupted, so not a lot of substance there.
I agree.
What we got was solid.
Yep.
Didn't expect Juice to attack him of all people, but I don't know why he did, but I kind of like him, so I'm not really going to complain too much.
I hope they explain.
Yeah, I don't.
At some point.
I could need something here, but Juice is cool.
I'm fine with it, and they can explain next week or whatever. It didn't have to be now. I thought the move he hit, what was it, like the forward DDT thing?
That's what it was, right? Because I borrowed from TJR, so credit to him, but like that's what it was.
It looked cool, I thought.
But I was like, I don't remember doing that. That's what it was.
And we like Juice, and he and Stark seem to be at a comparable level, or could be, or should be, or whatever you want to say.
Agreed.
And again, it's confirmation that Starks is done with Jazz, so
yes,
cool in that sense. Yeah,
that is good.
I agree.
Next we get a Wardlow interview. He says he has suffered some tragedies recently, and since he's dressed for the occasion, he wants to make his match against Hobbs Falls kind of anywhere. He's dressed for a street fight, so he doesn't know the difference. He's not smart. That's okay. He's just a muscle head.
It's kind of funny that he like picks the match type based on I don't have gear for a regular match.
Yeah.
Again, they're working in the real life stuff.
Teach him a lesson, and he's still the champion belt or not. I thought it was solid, but I think it should have been a street fight.
I think he sounded fine, and I like again that their stuff actually happened to him, and they've quickly worked it into the show, so that's totally fine.
But like street fight, like come on, don't be stupid, guys.
Yep, tight jeans are for street fights, boys. Yeah.
Jeans and shirts are for street fight. That's the rule.
And he's wearing an FTR shirt, right? Is what he has. That's funny.
His friends gave him some clothes.
Yeah. Because he has friends with the same size as him. Well, I guess in the wrestling world, that's more realistic than in real life.
Next, we get to hear from Ruby Soho.
Thank goodness.
Whose side is she on?
We want to know her reason for her decision.
And boy, she's chosen a side now.
Boy, is it a creative, original response from her.
Yeah, and then it really I've turned a new leaf on the storyline.
They're covering new ground here.
It's
the fans' fault.
Ever since this promo, I've turned a new leaf on the storyline. Okay, I've actually I really enjoyed her match after this. I'm really hoping Saraya gets another title shot. You know, I think she could really do good now. I think this storyline's finally turned a new leaf. So let's hear this.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. So she came out with Saraya and Toni Storm, which was awesome because I felt Saraya got wronged at the pay-per-view.
Listen,
you know?
This is Hall and Nash finding their Hulk Hogan. Okay, how dare you?
It is.
You know right. It is.
It is. That's true. That's I was thinking it reminded me of something great, but that's it.
What
there
it
is. The third woman. But then they went to the back, so I was personally pissed off because no Saraya. What is that even? What? Huh? That doesn't make sense.
Almost turned the show off.
I almost did. So Renee asked Ruby about why she turned, and she said, "You all created this monster," and she claimed the fans were thrilled when Britt Baker beat her. She mentioned being Statlander, and the fans cheered in the Owen Hart tournament, and she was booed out of the building. She mentioned Hayter pinning her at Revolution, and she realized nobody was ever going to come to her defense. She complained about how AEW called Storm an interim women's champion, because she was, and that's how that works.
Right, she literally was, and then wasn't.
And then that's how that works. Blame Thunder Rosa then. She's not original either. So
nope.
Yeah. Then the
Which
fans
side is she on? That'll be an interesting story. God, imagine.
Yes, let's do that with Thunder Rosa.
I think we just spoke it into existence, probably.
Let's do that with Thunder Rosa. Ruby said, so next she said, the fans begged for Saraya to wrestle again.
I mean, if you count two people as fans, then that's plural. That's all it means. Two.
That's true.
Then maybe.
And maybe that's true, but maybe years ago, and also I definitely wasn't because her return came out of nowhere for me. So,
she's a legend, bud. How dare you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're told.
Yeah. And trolls came after her at a moment's notice.
Sure.
Yeah. Right.
You say so.
Ruby said they came here to rebuild the women's division. Good job, you're really doing it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've seen toddlers build better than this.
It's at another level now.
She claimed about the entitled people in the back and the rookies that think they deserve things, and now she's gonna wrestle Sky Blue. Hooray!
Yeah. It's the fans' fault. Is really lazy, right? The fans were behind each one of these women at some point, right? Storm and what's her face and Ruby Soho. So. Her reason for turning on the fans don't really resonate with me, because why all of a sudden? Why not in those moments? Did it just there was a threshold that built up and eventually we passed it, I guess is the point. But I think she delivered this fine, actually better than I expected, because I find some of her heel work is on the mic is overdone. It's clear she's playing a character, and I
hate when she was she's like, you all created this monster. That felt so fake.
So. Some of her jabs at the fan were funny, but at the end of the day, it didn't make me more interested in her or her group. So, not successful, I would suggest.
I would wager the same.
I thought you might.
This was shaky reasoning at best. I think it's a really random shift for Soho. But if I said I was surprised or interested, I would be lying so hard. I think this is worse reasoning than when we got Christian's explanation. Remember when he was because Jungle Boy eliminated him and then he wanted to ride their money, but then he managed them instead of wrestling?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That works better for me.
And at least he was super awesome heel after that, right? Such personal attacks and stuff that made it more interesting. So you could forgive the faulty reasoning. This is okay, this is very standard stuff.
But don't worry, we're starting this off with a bang. She's wrestling Sky Blue on International
Women's
Day.
One of the rookies she's complaining about, I guess.
On International
Women's Day. I feel you're complaining about a Jade Cargill and she gonna kill you. Maybe.
That's true.
I don't know.
Remember, it's International Women's Day on this.
It is. So that's my first note. This is the match on International Women's Day. So of all days, an opportunity to sort of say, hey, we focus on women here. Nope. You get Ruby Soho and Sky Blue, and that's it. And I'm like, maybe they'll throw another women's match in on Women's Day. Nope.
Foolish.
This is it.
That is a foolish thought.
So tell us about the 6-minute match with a commercial break in it.
Saito suplex from Soho, high crossbody from Sky Blue. She hits the Destination Unknown, which is just, I'll say it, if I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. It's a poor man's Blade Runner. Actually,
right.
Not even Sister Abigail. You know what? Blade Runner is the best version, okay? Jay White does it the best. People take the Blade Runner the best. This is a poor man's Blade Runner. All right? And so Soho gets the win in a match I didn't care about. Soho and her evil peeps are about to spray paint blue with green, LOL.
Crazy.
And then Willow runs out to talk sense to Soho, but then, oh my god, they beat her up too.
Okay. Yep. My verbatim notes. Standard 6-minute match with a commercial break in the middle. Nothing special. Blue just looked okay in this. Another post-match attack. 2 for 2. Yawn. Tony Schiavone called them outsiders. Ha ha ha. That's it.
What a match. Not International Women's Day, by the way. Post-match was lame too.
Yep.
Probably the only good parts about this was what you just said, and then also I amused myself typing they want to spray paint blue with green because colors.
The whole spray paint thing, it's so
stupid.
And like, anyway, it's been done, and like, you're not NWO. It's so, I don't know.
Poor man's Blade Runner. Honestly, Trey Miguel's doing it better, and I don't even really watch that.
Right, and he's not doing it great, I don't think.
No,
better for sure.
That's better.
Yep.
So Willow's against Soho now. Whoopi, they were such an amazing tag team.
Right.
Woo. Next we got a Hangman interview. So Renee's asking about the Revolution thingy.
Made me laugh because it's basically like, so you just tried to murder my husband. How are you doing now? Like, would she not have some sort of ill will or animosity towards a guy who almost murdered, and might have if her husband hadn't tapped out? Was Hangman just going to kill him? But now she's like 3 days later, like, how are you feeling? I thought that was pretty strange, but anyways.
I mean, I feel like you could come up with some headcanon for that, but when you just kind of, with what we see, it is amusing. He said if you try to push him, he'll take you to hell, rip off your flesh, and choke you until your life leaves your body. Well, he will ride out. So
I'm talking about your husband, by the way. Right? Oh, okay.
Paige apologized to Renee for what she had to see. So like they do acknowledge it, right? So it's like,
so I prefer that.
And said don't blame him. And he said that for him, he's finished with this. I like this because he was like a lot more confident and kind of aggressive here, but like in a way that still felt like kind of like himself. You know what I mean? Like he was more confident, more aggressive after this because like he had to go to that dark place he said he would go to, right? So he's kind of like got pushed over the edge there, but he's still feeling very much himself here after he beat Mox, and so I kind of liked it. I'm not sure what he does next, but this was nice.
I liked it too because it's that I always say like he's kind of a complex character, so
right. So it felt like different, but kind of authentic.
He's
to him
an absolute badass in the match, and then he sort of shows his sensitive side a bit, and like sincerely, it seems, apologizing to his opponent's wife, right? So I like this about Hangman, and it's kind of like, yeah, your husband brought me to this point, and I can apologize after the fact, but I'll do it again if I have to.
Yeah, and he's like, don't blame me.
I mean, he's like, he's done and moving on. So I think not many wrestlers walk that line like Hangman can of having like an absolute bloody death match, but then still seeming a bit sensitive a couple days later, right? So
I like it.
It's cool. I liked it too.
Next we get an MJF promo from after his Iron Man match. He said that he made the dragon tap out, and he's the devil. He's got a silver tongue and the grandest prize of them all. He said he's ready to celebrate. He's single in San Francisco, and on March 15th next week in wretched Winnipeg on Dynamite, he's going to celebrate his birthday. MJ said he's going to have his re-bar mitzvah. MJ said nobody will dethrone the devil because his reign of terror has just begun.
Yeah, he looked crazy here because he was super still bloody, right? And I assume just flying off the adrenaline from the match he was just in, so he sounded...
I saw, I think it was on one of the media scrums or whatever, like he said he's the devil, and he's like, he's even growing a horn.
Yeah, that's what he said, yeah. That was in this. That was in this,
okay.
Because of the big knot on his head.
Yeah.
So he sounded more energetic than usual, and he's kind of using solid heel logic, like glossing over the fact that he cheated, right? Like just ignoring that and being like, I beat the best wrestler in the world in his match kind of thing. So yeah, I thought this was really good. So this was really good, but it doesn't even hold a candle to Danielson's response later, I thought, which we'll get to.
That was awesome. It was a customarily good promo from MJF. I saw some of his media crumbits. I forgot to write S, I guess.
It works.
I guess. Those were great too. I love, because he's in kayfabe still, right? So
always.
And it's a breath of fresh air from the last time a world champion went nuts on a media scrum.
But we didn't mention it in the match at Revolution. Remember, he threw a drink on a kid? Apparently that was a big deal, and the kid got to go backstage. From what I've heard, it was the parent is drinking a glass of tequila, and that's what got thrown on the kid. So I can't imagine if you were that age that I'd sit there and drink a glass of tequila. Like, I don't even think I've never had a drink at a wrestling show.
No.
With you, or with not with anyone, that's not true, but
no,
with you.
Like, definitely not. No.
So I don't know. I thought, like, obviously he went, I don't know, did he go too far or whatever, but I guess the kid got to go backstage and meet a bunch of people, so that happened.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, carry on.
Also, MJF was on Impractical Jokers this week.
Oh, nice.
Which is pretty fun.
Yeah.
He wasn't the punishment guest, because that was Kesha, because she's relevant.
I've heard of her.
Yeah.
Sign in there.
She's
right?
done that one. She did that one song. It's like, you know it.
I probably do.
But he was in the one challenge. They all, like, you know that one where they do the debates and they're trying to get someone random to agree with them?
Yes.
They all went against him.
Oh,
and
nice.
It was funny, one of the ones he did.
That's a smart way to use him, because he can talk.
Yeah, and it's funny because he's still kind of in character, so it's funny.
Yeah.
The one he did against Q was like, they were making Q say that he doesn't think wrestling chops would hurt.
Right.
He could take 5 of them, and you can assume what happens next.
Remember the dude at the indie show getting chopped? I'm pretty sure I know him.
Wait, what?
Oh, were you? Was that the one I went with your brother?
I don't know.
So, the guy with the 2 giant... this is going to be a digression, folks. I apologize. The guy with the 2 giant scars on his back.
Atlas.
Big dude. Like, he's a big, buff dude. Atlas, right?
Yeah.
So, in the intermission, he just came and stood at ringside, and he just hung some T-shirts over the ropes to sell. And a kid I'm pretty sure I know from my job back in the day couldn't place him entirely. So they went up. And he was anyone that wanted, he was taking a picture with them on his shoulders. Whether you were a 6-year-old kid or a 230-pound man, he was like, you want me to pick you up?
Yeah.
So anyways, this guy asked if Atlas would chop him. And he's like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah. And I want my friend to tape it. So he takes his hoodie off. And Atlas goes to him, I think we should go right to the skin. And the guy's like, awesome. So he took his shirt off and let him full on chop him while his friend videotaped it. It was, nice. And he was so happy. It was like a lifelong dream to, like, it looked like he was so pleased to have been chopped by a professional wrestler. It was pretty funny. That must have been your brother, I guess, right? Because you would remember that.
I definitely didn't see that.
Yeah. So yeah, it was funny.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Next we hear from FTR in the ring. So they're getting interviewed by Shivani, and so they returned after taking a break for like 4 months ish. Wheeler said he missed the reaction they got. He said 2022 was great for them, but the last 2 months were bad since they lost to the Acclaim, lost to the Guns, and lost all their tag titles in roughly a month.
All true.
Losers.
Right.
Wheeler also spoke about losing one of their best friends in wrestling in the world, breaking kayfabe.
A little bit.
To be rivals.
Yeah.
Referring to Jay Briscoe or whatever.
I assume. How do you know?
There's another car accident at the beginning of the year, and another one of their best friends. He's just not very well known, so we just didn't know.
Right.
Cash said they needed to take a breath and recharge. Cash said they couldn't sit at home watching the Guns call themselves the best tag team in wrestling, and he said they're spoiled, entitled, disrespectful little a-holes. He said that their father gave them everything in life. Clearly not, because they're them. But Cash said his father couldn't do that with him. And Dax talked about how much he cares about his wife and daughter, which he's never mentioned before, so I'm glad he's fleshing himself out a bit here.
Yeah.
But he wants to talk about the fans. He said the fans never left them, and professional wrestling never left them, and he loves all of it. He spoke about how they closed the book on the Grace Trilogy matches in their career, the Briscoes ones. But that victory was taken away with the Guns, and that was the last memory they had with Briscoe. And the memory was taken by the Guns, so now it's time for retribution.
Mm-hmm. I hope not. That word has been tainted in the wrestling world.
That word's been forever tainted.
Forever.
Forever
Unclean. Sorry, that's a reference to a show I watched.
Dax told the Guns that they had to beat them to become AEW Tag Team Champions for themselves, the Briscoes, and for the fans.
Yeah, solid work from both of them here. Their intentions are clear. Their reasons made sense. They have had a bit of a bad run for the 2022 Tag Team of the Year to have, right? A little bit of pandering to fans, nothing excessive. Really great reaction. Good, but like standard, generic almost promo. But it was a fine reintroduction to them, I thought. You?
Sorry, I was just adding something. Okay. Alrighty. So yeah, it was good. It's been a while since we've heard from him. I thought Cash sounded a lot better than before.
He started off this one, right? I think.
Yeah, so he was actually a lot better than I remember, and it's best I've seen from him in a decent while. And then Dax always delivers as well, so it was a nice whole package here. And we're building to the result we've been waiting for months now.
Exactly.
Which feels overdue, because I would have loved them with 4 belts. I think I saw someone say like they shouldn't have had all the belts, but I think that would have been really cool.
I have no problem with them having lots of belts. Yes. They're great. And I think Dax has said that they're, despite being back on TV and whatever, that their status has not changed in terms of contract, which again could all be not real, right? Like
I thought I saw something that they might resign. I saw something about maybe a new contract, but
if the money's comparable, I can't imagine why they would go to WWE after the way they were treated, right? And all the stuff that's come out. Like, I know maybe you hope it's different with Triple H, but Vince is still there, man, and lurking.
Especially now, I think it's Usos, and I think it has to go Zayn and Owens, and I don't know who else. Like, but I think they have more of a future here. And honestly, I'd rather see them fight the Bucks and Lucha Bros, and maybe like some combination of the House of Black or something, you know.
But lots more talent, and they actually take tag team wrestling a little more seriously here for sure.
Yeah, because Danhausen.
Right.
Next we get a Jade Cargill interview, because I have sorely missed her.
Well, at least she's rapidly, significantly changed her character in promos. Oh, wait, sorry.
Meteoric rise.
She's doing the exact same thing.
Oh, darn. She's 53-0 and asks Renee if she's from Canada. She is. That's where they are next week, and she'll defend her title against the best Canada has to offer.
Jody Threat.
No, they're in Winnipeg.
So she could travel.
I don't think she would.
No, but I wonder who it'll be. Natalia?
Why do I feel like Aaliyah's Canadian?
She is.
Okay, so do that.
Remember they were...
She was in the Peterborough.
She was saying she was from Toronto to get heel heat in Peterborough.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen Jade in a while, it feels like. She sounded good. She usually does, but this is her doing her thing, and it's not any different or unique or anything else. So she's still undefeated. She still wants to fight people. Cool.
How is it that she's held the title for this long? How long has it been? I have to check now. I don't.
Well, she's 53-0, so
it's been over a year. I know.
A real long time.
Let's see roster. Okay. All right.
And she only had one baddie with her, I think, right?
Yeah, she's down to one. 390 plus days.
Nice. Good for her.
Somebody beat her. I swear to God, she's held the title longer than Kenny Omega had his, longer than the Bucks had theirs, longer than Baker
and let me ask
Shida.
You,
oh my God.
Has it made this championship prestigious?
It's the one I care the least about.
Exactly. So at some point, and I really, really want to like Jade, right? Because look at her. And yes, early on, I would be like, considering how long she's wrestled, she's pretty good. But it's like there's a plateau, or we're don't
way
see
past
her.
That now.
Right. And so I don't know. At this point, they need to pull the plug, or they need to do something with her, because this was just more of the same.
Like the Bucks held it for only 302 days, so she's like 80 something days past the Bucks, which is outrageous. And then I think I want to say Omega's either longer. Okay, Omega's she's held the title longer than Omega did. Wow. What is this? What is this?
I don't know.
Huh? 346 days for Omega. What is this?
Now I feel like they're kind of spinning their wheels because they don't quite know what to do with her.
Exactly.
So it's just a holding pattern, kind of.
Which is annoying, because now...
It is.
Now she's held it longer than Moxie, Jericho, and Omega had theirs. She's held it longer than every AEW World Champion so far. And also... Bucks. That's what I was looking for. And let's just look at Baker and Shida, just to make myself more angry. So she's held it longer. Yeah, Shida was 372, so Shida's the closest.
Right.
And then Baker was 290, so she's held it 100 days longer than Baker has, and longer than Thunder Rosa too. And she's probably as good as Thunder Rosa. Okay, she's on par with Thunder Rosa. I'll be mean for now. So that sucks. And I would just like to mention CM Punk's second title run lasted for 3 days, so that's pretty funny.
Cool. All right, keep moving.
Next, we have Jazz, which is Jericho, Guevara, and Garcia.
Just in case you were afraid you wouldn't see Jazz this week, You get them multiple times. Here's the first one. Super exciting.
They're taking on AR Fox and Top Flight. Some notables: Angelo Parker distracted Dante for a split second, then Garcia caught a springboard dive attempt with a punch to the face. Dante hit a monkey flip to Guevara after being worked over on the commercial break.
Is that the one where he like flipped an extra Revolution almost? Yeah, looked cool.
He made the hot tag out to Fox. He gets a flurry of offense capped off with a diving double cutter. And then he hits that implosion sent onto the outside to Guevara. Then the finish comes when Hager hits Darius with a bat cheap shot, and then Jericho pins him for the win.
Yeah.
Post-match, Parker says, "We just witnessed the greatest AEW Trios victory of all time. After Revolution, yeah, sure." Menard says, "Tonight marks a year of jazz," and then he reiterates the line from their theme, sports entertainers, whatever. Garcia says, "After tonight's win, they should be number one contenders for the Trios titles."
For sure. That's how it works.
When have they been a trio before?
Right. Win one match, form your trios, and you're good.
This is what happens when you don't have rankings.
Yeah.
Jericho says they are deeming themselves the next challengers. Hooray. And he calls it the House of Black now, and then the lights go out, which I thought was them, but then cleverly they used that to set up the Elite's entrance, so that was kind of cool, actually, because I thought it'd be House of Black. We get their theme, they come out. Omega says for the better part of 3 years, they haven't gotten involved in each other's business, because I forgot that Omega and Jericho do have pretty famous history.
Two best things out of Winnipeg. Right?
Omega and Don Callis. But Don Callis cuts him off and says, everyone knows that the Elite established the Trios titles, and after Revolution, they are the number one contenders and not Jazz. And he agrees that Jericho is one of the best of all time, but unfortunately, he's only the second best from Winnipeg, and says he'd be number 3 if Callis had some time to train, which I thought was pretty funny. Lights go out, and House of Black appear on the Tron. Black says they're equally deserving to be humiliated in their hometown. Huh?
We getting a 3-way triple
threat? They're equally deserving?
Yeah. I don't know.
I'd say, well, if you're going on who's more deserving to have a title shot, then it's the Elite.
Yes,
but if
easily
more deserving to be humiliated, probably Jazz, because they suck. So I guess that makes it even. I don't know. And if they want them, then the lights go out. They appear on the ramp in between the Elite on the stage and Jazz in the ring, and Black says, "Come get them," and the House of Black disappear. Woo!
Yeah, match-wise, I find Top Flight and Fox really entertaining, and I think they fit together really well. Like them as a trios team on the rise, for sure. Again, maybe not a title holder, but not out of the question, but definitely useful in the division. AR Fox just impresses me every time that we see him. Again, I guess, is the story that Jericho can't hang with the youth in this company and needs to cheat to win. I don't know. And not only did Jazz get a match, but they get a rambling promo afterward and just get to inject themselves into the title contention for the trios after one match and randomly forming a trio. So I don't know. The match itself was fine because I feel like it was Top Flight and Fox got to showcase more than the other guys did, but I feel a little bit sorry for the Elite and House of Black getting tangled up in Jazz right now, and the aftermath was too long for me.
I do hope it's temporary. It seems like a temporary thing.
I think so
for
too.
Winnipeg, it gets them both on the card, and also it should be fun. But
it should. But I'm okay with Jazz taking some time off, man. But it's never gonna happen.
The match was fine. Jazz didn't do a whole lot that stood out to me, and Top Flight and Fox was a bright spot to me, of course. If anything, they should be in that 3-way opposed to Jazz, winning one random match and declaring themselves title contenders. Regardless of how we got here, 3-ways trios match is interesting at least. No DQ, and should be good given the talent involved, provided they get a good amount of time. I mean, what's better than a trios match? You level up and you add another trio.
Exactly. Always leveling up.
Yeah, exactly. Next we get a Bryan Danielson promo post Revolution main event. So I borrowed from TJR, so credit to him, and then also he had like the quotes word for word, so that's cool. So it'll be kind of like from Danielson. So Danielson said, "I always thought I was doing this for my kids. You know, I was forced to retire, and I wanted to teach them if you love something, you got to fight for it. What I realized out there tonight, Max was right. You know, this whole time, my whole career, I've been legs, lungs, heart, and never giving up. That's always what I thought was best, always to fight, just to fight and fight and fight and fight. When I woke up from being unconscious and I'm in the label lock, my first instinct was to fight. As I was fighting, I realized I can't feel my arms, and my left leg didn't have any strength anymore. And when Max said after the Iron Man match, I wouldn't be able to play with my kids, it dawned on me he's right. I was putting myself before my family. More than tapping out, that made me more ashamed than anything else. It's time for me to go home."
I thought this was absolutely amazing.
It was fantastic.
I was like captivated by every word of it. It felt 100% real.
I love it because it adds so many more layers to the finish. It makes it make way more sense. And then also, I really love that all of MJF's efforts pre-match, like everything he was saying to get in Danielson's head and psych him out, it actually did pay off. In addition to like all the physical targeting as well to the arm, but like you see, it's actually paid off. It actually got to Danielson in the end. And as far as we know, that's the only thing saving MJF here, right? Yeah. Like he could have like, if that hadn't gotten through to Danielson and that had like, if he had just kept fighting, he could have probably beaten MJF, dare I say. So I really like that because this like, in hindsight, makes the match so much better.
And I love that they made the choice to do it directly after the match instead of waiting to Dynamite, because he's like, the emotions are running high immediately after the loss, right? And he's just having a reflective moment, and this is what comes out. Super believable delivery, like captivating segment for me. And I hope he could take some time off here to rest, right? And then
I think that's what that is, right?
And then when he returns, the crowd's gonna go bananas, and he's got a built-in something he can go back to if they want or whatever. But I thought this was incredible, like one of my favorite little. Not too long, right? But just fantastic. I love this.
Yeah, I think this was one of the best promos of the night.
Yeah.
It was really good. It wasn't long, but it was awesome. They did a lot here with just a little promo.
Yep, I loved it.
Next we get more Blackpool with Moxley and Claudio taking on Dark Order, Silver, and Reynolds. So Blackpool attacked them right from the get-go, which kind of harkens back to OG Blackpool with Mox and Danielson.
I'm just adding that Danielson segment to the best of list, so because I make random notes at the bottom of just stuff, so I'm adding that there.
We get a bit of a brawl on the outside. Alex Reynolds gets a hot tag flurry. He goes for a middle rope drive, but Claudio shoves him off and out of the ring. Then Moxley hits him with a running knee on the outside. Silver tags in after Reynolds took a lot of offense, and he and Mox have a bit back and forth. He does like that signature, the pump kick to the back of the head, while Mox is leaning on the middle rope, and then a German suplex for 2.
Cat shadow under the door.
Silver and Reynolds go for the usual combo, but Moxley counters Reynolds into a sleeper hold, and Claudio takes out Silver. Then Mox hits Reynolds with a half and half. Then Mox submits Reynolds with a front face lock submission, and then continues choking him with the sleeper, and then the bulldog choke after the match. Evil Uno runs out and attacks Mox until Yuta attacks him from behind. So Blackpool beat them down. And then Hangman comes out with Ghost Town Triumph. Let me make it clear.
Absolutely.
Let me make it clear.
Even I noticed that, and I don't generally.
And that's how you know it's good.
Right?
He hits a shot to Claudio and just pushing him off, and then Blackpool just the switch flipped, and they just gang up on him until the refs come out.
Yeah, I like Dark Order, and they looked good in this match, but I mean, I'm not sure they should be having a competitive 10-minute match with Mox and Claudio at this point, right? You've got Moxley, who's one of the top names in the company, and Claudio, who's the champion of Ring of Honor. So I feel like also maybe Mox should have taken a week off to sell the intensity of that bloodbath he had with Paige 3 days before. I thought the match was entertaining. We got the combination stuff I love from Dark Order. I'm not sure it made a ton of sense here, but I guess the point is we're using Dark Order to firmly establish that Blackpool are now a violent heel group, right? Which comes through more on Ring of Honor with Yuta as well.
Which would be interesting how that's going to clash with Danielson, because he just kind of had the opposite epiphany.
Right, so but I guess also conveniently he's going home for a while, so Blackpool can do their thing without him, and he could come back and have issues with it and fight his way up to Moxley, which I would be fine with too. I don't know.
That'd be interesting.
There's options.
I would like to see Danielson and Claudio. I feel like that's something we haven't really seen.
That too, right? You could have...
I think Moxley would be the final boss, but just in that thing, I don't know if I've ever seen Daniel Bryan versus Cesaro, if that's what you want to call it. I don't remember that.
That would be a good ROH title match if you put it on a pay-per-view, if they're doing such
things. Give Danielson that belt one more time.
Right.
Solid TV tag. I like the upped aggression from Blackpool. Worked well against Silver and Reynolds. I think you're right. They kind of they help facilitate the heel turn, especially Silver, because who doesn't love him? He's just too lovable. So it really works in Blackpool's favor, I think. I thought we had some solid action. Finish was cool. With Mox kind of halting that usual flurry they go for, which I think is smart because there's so many moves that they do there. You're bound to catch them if you really watch out. So I think that was kind of cool. Post match was fine, but hallelujah, we got Hangman's theme back. Ghost Town Triumph.
That's the
is
key
returned.
takeaway here.
That is the key takeaway, if anything. I wonder if it was always meant to come back, or if it was just like a temporary thing for the show, or
I feel like the feedback
if no one
was,
liked
yes.
the song he rocked at Revolution, and then also it was on the Go Home show, because I noticed something that was different. I'm just like, I don't vibe with that. I know I didn't.
Nobody
It might
could.
be my favorite current theme right now, because it's definitely one of the ones I would be and was the most mad about it being changed.
Yeah,
Like,
I was annoyed too, and I don't care usually.
Yeah, like that's it's a huge outrage for me. It's got a nice chill tone to it, and it's perfect for him. Like,
I agree.
I don't know how they got that, but like I think he had it even before AEW, but it's perfect for him. It is his theme, so
Yep.
I think it's perfect. Even there was that variant version he used when Dark Order had the 5-on-5 tag that it's made by the same guy who did Ghost Town Triumph, so it's really similar. It's that one's called Hangman's Tale.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one they use for that multi-man tag, where it has like the big video package in the entrance, and that one's great too, because that one's like really similar. And honestly, I wouldn't even care if you used either one of those, but I like that they stuck back with the original.
Just not the Revolution one.
Just not whatever song that was. 'Cause I know that's a real song. I don't want it.
Right.
Next we get an Acclaimed interview. Bowen said that things didn't work out at Revolution. They're in Scissormento, and they're gonna get back the tag titles. Caster went to speak, but 2.0 interrupted.
Hey, more jazz. Perfect. Amazing.
Remember, you used to love them.
I do like 2.0, but just this group, I'm over it.
I saw something from NXT. I forgot they were Everrise.
I told you, I remember every week I'd be like, Everrise is cool, and you'd be like, no, they're terrible, they're jobbers, whatever. I'm like, they're cool. Canadian too.
Now they're
as a bonus. They're just annoying now.
And they try to recruit the Acclaimed.
Yep, they do.
So
good luck.
This is fine. I don't want or care about this.
Yeah, I don't care. More jazz, my only note. Literally 2 words. Or a word and an acronym.
Stop this, because it's just like everything. It's like gonna drag out too long, and
right.
It's not interesting. Like, I don't know.
It's kind of like we don't have anything for people to do. Throw a couple members of jazz on them.
Why do they keep thinking people want to be sports entertainers? Like, they tried to recruit Starks, they tried to recruit the Acclaimed,
but they only lean into it here and there, right? And then they kind of forget it. I don't know. It's jazz. Main event. Who cares?
Garcia should have been in Blackpool.
Sorry, not who cares about the main event.
It was okay.
I cared for a long time, and then I cared not so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Next we get Wardlow versus Powerhouse Hobbs. Falls Count Anywhere for the TNT title.
Hoss fight indeed.
It's weird Falls Count Anywhere though, because it's pinfalls, knockout, or surrender, which I don't like because it's too close to Texas death for me. Like I was saying to you, like I know all like the no DQ, like you have no DQ, no holds barred, straight fight. Those are all pretty interchangeable, but like, this would be like making Falls Count more like Last Man Standing in WWE. I don't like that, because I feel like Texas Death, that's fine because it's like Last Man Standing, also a submission, but like Falls Count Anywhere is supposed to be like your average no holds barred match. Just you can
pin them anywhere.
It can extend elsewhere, right? I don't think it needs to have the Last Man Standing elements, because then it feels less different to me. So.
And even in the moment, I thought they kind of spoiled it by remember they specifically pointed out, oh, it's falls or how did they say it? Knockout or whatever, and I'm like, why did they? Sounds like a foreshadow. They went really out of their way to let me know it's not just a pinfall that can win this, which ended up being the case.
Which is weird.
Mm-hmm.
The match starts backstage, and they're brawling around a car. There's a suplex on the hood from Hobbs. They're back in the ring post-commercial break, and Wardlow hit an F10 for 2. Swanton from the top by Wardlow through Hobbs on a table really on the outside.
Nailed it.
That got a 2 count. There's a powerbomb on the entrance ramp from Wardlow. We went to powerbomb Hobbs off the stage at the top, but QT Marshall attacks Wardlow from behind. I don't know. I remember I swear, like, the Factory were going after Starks, I think, in that feud, and like, I think that's what it was. Done. I think QT owed him one or something.
Yeah, because it was something his word. He did say his word was whatever.
I think that's what it was, because I know they were slightly involved in something, and I think it was the Starks feud.
But I don't know if you noticed this. It's QT Marshall.
Oh, I did notice that, actually. Okay. I picked up on that.
Yeah.
He attacks Wardlow with the chair, then he helps Hobbs powerbomb Wardlow off the stage onto some breakaway thing. Should have been tables.
It looked like a pretty comfy landing.
Not only did it not break a lot, but it's like it was too high up to like it didn't really create much of a drop. That's part of the
He didn't really sink into much.
Right, that's part of the allure of the throwing him off the stage, is like you get a bit of a drop, and usually it's on the tables or something. That's why it works better, but this wasn't it. Wardlow can't beat the 10 count. Hobbs gets the win.
Yeah, this started out as like a fun Hoss fight, like the suplex on the car, and then Hobbs got back body drop through the windshield that looked painful, right? And it was like, what I would hope for. It's entirely high impact stuff, as it should be. And then the finish just really cheapened it for me. First of all, I don't want Hobbs needing help from other people. Look at the guy. He should be just able to win on his own. I don't want him tangled up with QT Marshall. I don't want QT Marshall being like the lasting final image from an episode of Dynamite. I don't understand.
At least he doesn't have the factor anymore.
The history
we're gonna miss Cole Carter.
Yeah, but the history between QT and Hobbs is unclear to me and only vaguely explained. Like, why can't Hobbs just be a killer on his own? I'm really hoping this is a one-off to get him the belt, and then he's on his own, just being cool, because he is. And I think he's fine talking for himself too. So I don't want him partnered up here. He should be on his own. I was really enjoying the match, but the finish came really suddenly and was not something I wanted. So I'm kind of torn on this main event, to be honest with you. I think it was on its way to being really cool, and then it was kind of cut short by a finish I would never, ever, ever want. You?
Yeah, I thought it was solid. It felt really short to me. Like it was
it did.
Good, but it was underwhelming to me. Like I was really hoping for more, so I didn't love it. It just felt kind of underwhelming to me. Yeah, the finish is not great. Hobbs could have easily done this on his own, and honestly, I think it should have been. He should have pinned him. Like I don't think we need the last man standing kind of thing. Honestly, that makes it less climactic for me.
I agree.
Because you have to wait, and usually by like the last bit, you can tell if they're gonna get up or not.
Yeah.
And QT Marshall adds nothing for me, so this was fine, I guess.
Yeah. Overall, this show, I liked the opener, and I guess I could say I liked most of the main event. But neither of them, I think we can agree, are like an elite AEW match on TV even. And then in between, we got like a fun 10-minute trios match, a solid Blackpool tag match. The women's match was nothing special, and that was it in ring. Really liked MJF's promo. Loved Danielson's segment, and Hangman's interview was good as well. So enough to keep me entertained, but not a standout show at all. So for me, it was just a solid B this week. The in-ring was a little bit underwhelming, but we got some solid segments along the way.
Yeah, the matches in general were fine, and surprisingly, this show's better on the strength of some of the promos. Like MJF was typically awesome. Hangman was really good, and Danielson blew it out of the water. Like that was incredible. I thought the tag match was pretty solid with Dark Orr and Blackpool. Hangman's theme's back, so that's
special
a
note.
That bumps up the show a little bit. They assured me that Ghost Town Triumph is staying intact,
right?
So that's okay. Ruby Soho was fantastic, so obviously that makes it an A+.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, I think this was a fine show. I think I'd probably give it a B, because as great as some of the promos were, I would rather have some like. I'd like to have those bolstered by some great matches, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and for me, the opener
which was a little absent.
The opener was my match of the night, and it was just good.
It was fine,
right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. Now we'll move into, wow, we're already at 2 hours. I knew it was going to be lengthy, but that's okay. I remember some people were like, the longer the better sort of thing. They will listen to us for as long as we take, which I find
they're getting it, I guess.
A strange affliction for people to have, but
would be weird,
I love it.
Yes.
So now we'll go into some trivia in the segment we always call Off the Top of His Head. All right, so this week is quite specific and I think very challenging. So you do have options. I think I found it from What Culture, correct?
Oh, nice.
It is, how much do you know about AEW 2021?
Okay.
Which is fresh probably in your mind fairly, but it's really specific. So let me know if you want, I think you'll probably want options for most of them, but there's 15 questions. Number 1 is, what was the first Dynamite match contested in 2021?
I don't know.
Okay, options?
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes, Matt Sydal, Abaddon, Hikaru Shida, The Acclaimed and Hybrid 2 versus SCU and Young Bucks, Jake Hager, Wardlow.
I'm going to go with the 8-man tag one.
That is correct. Very good. You already got one more than I got on this. I kind of just went through really fast and got 0. So you're winning. Which member of the Dark Order teamed with Adam Page against Team Taz on the 11th of June episode?
I feel like it was...
You want options?
Silver.
Preston Vance. Preston Vance, sorry.
Gross.
Colt Cabana, Alan Angels, John Silver.
I thought it was Silver, but I feel like it's Vance.
It is Vance. Very good.
Nice.
What match main evented Dynamite when it received its first 0.5 or above 18 to 49 demographic rating? Wow, that's hard. Well, we might get it though. Perez and Penta versus the Young Bucks.
Perez and Penta?
Kingston and Penta.
Okay.
I don't know what I was saying. Versus the Young Bucks. Jericho versus Nick Gage. Moxley versus Minoru Suzuki, or Baker versus Soho.
I remember the tag match really well. I'll go with that.
It is not. It's Moxley Suzuki.
Gross.
In what order did these this is one I think you'll get. In what order did these special Dynamite episodes occur?
Okay.
So what order did they occur? Okay, I'm just going to say, I'll use the first answer as Fight for the Fallen, Fyter Fest, Road Rager. So what's the correct order of those?
Road Rager, Fyter Fest, Fight for the Fallen.
Correct. Weirdo. You could give me 20 well, I guess after 20 I'd hit the right combination, but you know what I mean? I would not.
No, I know. Fyter Fest is always usually like, it's like Fight for the Fallen is the week after.
I feel like another one you might be able to figure out. Which of these wasn't an entrant in the Dynamite Diamond Ring Battle Royal?
Okay.
Lee Johnson, Pillman Jr., Sydal, Kazarian. Actually, that's pretty hard.
Kazarian?
No, Pillman Jr.
Oh, apparently. I'm throwing out his card.
Who was eliminated first in the Elite versus Adam Page and Dark Order 10-man elimination match? Reynolds, Grayson, Silver, Uno.
I feel like it was Reynolds.
It was Reynolds.
Okay, just because I feel like he's like,
he's
no
always
offense,
the lowest on the
he's
totem pole.
He's the one I probably care least about, but like, I feel like that was going to trick me. Nope. I thought that might trick me.
Of Darby Allin's 9 TNT championship defenses, I guess in that year, which one was the shortest? Okay. Ready? Preston Vance, JD Drake, Scorpio Sky, Joey Janela.
JD Drake.
Correct, just because it's JD Drake. Telegraph that one. How long did the inaugural Blood and Guts match last?
I don't know.
7, 17, 27, or 37 minutes?
I'm going to go 17.
Correct. That's what
I feel like 27 would
not
be
enough.
like...
27's pushing it.
You're right, because that would be like... I feel like that'd be normal if that was a pay-per-view, but I know it was on Dynamite, right? So it would have to be like decently long, but not too long.
Yeah, because 7 and 37 are kind of off the table.
Yeah, and 27 maybe, but that's pushing it, because that's like a quarter of the show almost.
Some solid rationale.
Yeah.
I think you'll know this, maybe not even with options. Who did CM Punk face in his in-ring debut?
Darby Allin.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
In 2021?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's not even an option.
What? Who then?
Daniel Garcia, Powerhouse Hobbs, Bobby Fish, or Matt Sydal?
No. Is it Hobbs?
Bobby Fish.
My Fish? What? No.
Who did CM Punk face in his
Darby Allin
Dynamite in-ring debut?
Dynamite, okay. That's not fair. I was thinking debut.
Did I not say that?
I don't know, but that might be partially on me, because I was thinking All Out instantly.
Robert Fish.
Yay!
Which of these?
Yeah, and he was like, he could have beaten Punk if he wanted to.
Which of these things didn't happen on the final Dynamite before AEW returned to live touring? Wow. Good luck.
Sure.
Vicky Guerrero's in-ring return. Eddie Kingston and Penta defeating the Young Bucks.
That never happened. Wait. No. They beat them in Eliminator, so that might have happened after.
Malachi Black's AEW debut.
That?
Correct. Why would you know that?
Because he debuted at Road Rager, and that wasn't crowds.
Oh, aren't you clever?
My instant thought was Vicky Guerrero, because what? But
no, you're right.
Then I knew Black debuted crowds there, and he kicked Arn Anderson.
The final option was Pillman challenging for TNT Championship. What was the stipulation for Chris Jericho versus Juventud Guerrera, in the 5 labors?
He had to beat him with the top rope move, right? Because then he did the top rope Judas effect.
My goodness, boy.
Yeah, the labors of Jericho, baby.
Yeah. How many strikes did Anthony Ogogo execute in his Dynamite debut in April?
1.
Correct.
The gut punch, baby. What are you talking about?
Devastating.
What are you talking about? That's easy.
How did Miro defeat Darby Allin for the TNT Championship? Like pinfall, submission, knockout, referee's decision.
Or knockout. Submission, right? Like
no.
Knockout?
No.
He pinned him?
Referee's decision.
Oh, because he'd probably just
knocked him out.
Hold on.
Or whatever. Who did Ruby Soho defeat in the first TBS Championship match aired on Dynamite?
Oh, like the tournament, I guess.
Because
she won.
Yeah, the first tournament match. Statlander, Ford, Deeb, Velvet.
I'm going with Ford.
It was Ford.
So she said she beat Statlander, but I know that wasn't the first
Penelope.
One. Yeah.
How many times did Kenny Omega wrestle on Dynamite in 2021? Ready?
Okay.
15, 17, 19, 21.
Okay, so we'll go 17.
15.
Damn it.
You don't know anything.
Middle of the pack is always a good move.
That was the final question. You did pretty well. I thought that was like super hard.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Very, very much details. But anyways,
Yes.
good job. All right, so now we'll move into highlighting and lowlighting other stuff from the week of wrestling that we watched in our, I was going to say penultimate. Do you have figuring or not?
Like minimal.
So it is penultimate segment that we like to call Highspots and Restholds. All right, you're first. I'll try and go through mine fast because I got a bunch, but I did 3 shows this week. But you've got a couple shows. I don't know. You generally have fewer Highspots and Restholds than me. So do you have anything for... That would be Raw first, I guess.
Yeah.
I saw some stuff that I liked.
Yeah, so the main high spot I wanted to talk about was Jey Uso coming back.
Yes.
And Sammy beat Jimmy Uso 1-on-1, and then Jey aligned with Sammy, but that was false. And he super kicked Sammy.
Yeah, it was well done.
And the Usos beat him down with Solo until Cody make the save.
I saw that.
So that was cool.
It was cool.
And then the follow-up promo on SmackDown was fine. I'm just gonna kind of mention now because I didn't really wasn't like super notable, but like, it was solid. And like I saw people saying like I really like the fan theories with this because obviously it's an actually good story, so you can have that.
Correct.
And like that he saw like because like Roman's putting it all on Jimmy, right? So if Jey didn't fall back in line, Jimmy's he's gonna bite the dust or whatever.
Yeah.
And so like the theory is like Jay's kind of doing that to kind of cover Jimmy's ass, you know?
And then they'll eventually split from Roman down the road together.
Maybe, right? Like I don't know, or maybe he's just legit turning on Sammy. He's like, that's his blood, right? It's just his brother. It's like
blood is thicker than water, they say.
I'm like, that's true.
That's it.
Like a shark like the shark smells water.
Like a shark smelling water.
Yeah,
exactly.
But like I feel like it could be that, or like he's not sticking with Roman, he's sticking with his brother, and it's not like. I don't know. Maybe he didn't want to stay with Sammy. I don't know. I feel like it could be a ploy. Like maybe he does want to stay with Sammy, but I feel like if he wanted, he wouldn't attack Sammy if he didn't want to. You know what I mean? So maybe he's just more like, I don't know. I feel like he has actually turned on Sammy to a degree, if you know what I mean.
And the Uso that's making the decision is doing a great job of acting. I never know which one it is. Yeah, like
Jey. It's Jey. He's the short-haired one.
Whatever. Super good job. And I also like that
I love his facial expressions. I noticed that was like a key thing in the segment too.
And they're intermingling other main event people, so you've got like Sammy and Cody and
I
Roman
like Cody in there a lot
me too.
It helps him build his thing with Roman.
Right.
But also it maintains the popularity with Sammy and Cody, because I feel like if you downplay one of them, you're kind of hurting yourselves no matter what.
And what was it, Ring of Honor? Remember I used to say like, or maybe it was AEW, where like, in real life, you're not on an island in an angle with somebody else. You're still interacting with other humans and maybe creating conflict or bonds or whatever.
I saw a thing. It was in the background of one segment that Cody was talking to Kevin Owens, and people are saying like, and WWE's made note of that on their account. So maybe it's like he could be trying to get Kevin Owens to work with Sammy,
right?
Like, because I think that has to be where that goes, right?
Yeah, I think so. Because people interact with other people, right? So this is a realistic thing to have happening where you're kind of involved in more than one thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I quite liked it too.
Then my rest hold from Raw was the Logan Paul Rollins segment. I didn't see much of it, but all I needed to see was that lame knockout for Logan to make this a rest hold. One lucky shot is pretty apropos because you got to be real lucky to win with a punch like that. Like it was the whole like. Just because he did boxing a bit like that, like it was not a knockout show. Like if I can find it real quick, it's not that great. Like
was Raw the Cena promo?
Yes, I'm gonna mention that after. I have to find the Logan Paul thing. Cause it's not. It didn't wow.
Maybe he's been training with the Go-Go.
Here it is. Wait, is this? Yeah, okay. So it's coming. I think this is. So I think he stomps Miz, right?
Yeah.
Or something.
What
like
an outfit on Rollins.
Wait. You see that?
Yeah.
It's weak. It's
not
like,
great.
He just like it's
in
like
the world of wrestling, it's not gonna kill somebody.
It's not. It doesn't work for me. So, anyways, Logan Paul, but that match is happening, and then a high spot was the Cena Theory segment. Cena roasted Theory a lot here, but it's pretty good. I'm typically not a fan of his promo style, especially lately, like especially in recent years. I don't think it works for me. This one definitely hit better because sometimes it just feels like something, but it just rubs me the wrong way every time. But this one worked better. And hopefully this is used to put over Theory in a big way because he didn't get it here, of course.
I like that he's kind of pointing out, like, Theory thinks he's this super megastar, and Cena's literally going, like, you don't get a reaction. In fact, they're sweetening the I can't believe he mentioned that, right? Like, that the producers are adding in a reaction because you're not getting one, and that basically, like, I'm doing you a favor here, buddy, sort of thing, right? So I liked it, yeah.
Yeah. His current reign has been solid, but he needs to be elevated or leveled up, because he could be great.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. Then my last one's from SmackDown, so you can go.
All right, so NXT was Roadblock this week. So again, because it's a special episode, they generally do some sort of unique beginning where it like previews all of the matches and summarizes stuff for us. I really like this one because they used Tiffany Stratton. I thought she did a really good job, and I thought it was a smart way to get her on the show because she's not in a match, right? And she's going to be a prominent figure going forward for this company for sure. Probably the next opponent for Perez. So I thought this was a clever way to get her involved, and that she did a really good job. Mm-hmm. The opening match was a high spot for me as well. It was the jailhouse street fight between Tony D and Dijak. And to win this, it was the fact that you had to place the other man in a cage and latch the door closed. So I enjoyed this. It was quick, but they did a lot. So there was a belly-to-belly on the floor onto a nightstick by Tony D'Angelo. I don't know if the nightstick was supposed to be there, but it did look like it would have been painful. We did get high justice from Dijak onto a chair that looked good. There was a huge springboard elbow drop to Tony D'Angelo through a table at ringside that looked good, kind of a la MJF in that match as well. And I think within this, there was the continued story of the loyalty between Tony and Stax. Like, Tony could have closed the door and won sooner, but Dijak was holding on to Stax and was kind of like, fine, lock me in here and I'm going to beat the crap out of your boy in here, right? So then D'Angelo didn't close the door. And then Dijak at one point had Tony D in, was about to close the door, and it was well done. Stax,
Tony D heel turn, you make a big face out of Stax.
So Stax just dove head first, kind of from off camera, in to stop the door from closing, like sacrificing himself, which was really good. And I didn't even notice in real time, but as he dove in, he also threw a crowbar into the ring. I only saw it on the replay from a different angle. And so D'Angelo's used the crowbar before, right? So that made sense, and he used it to beat the crap out of Dijak and win the match. So it was only 12 minutes, but I thought it was really fun. With they stuck a lot of action and some cool spots in there. Dijak continues to have good matches, but not much else, right? They need to sort of reboot him somehow. And Tony and his loyalty story was going on and still pretty good here. Another high spot, I thought Roxanne Perez gave a really solid babyface promo ahead of her main event defense against Mako. Kind of generic content, but really well delivered and believable. And we always say, like, believable baby faces are hard to come by, right? And Perez is one already, and she's 21 or whatever she is. So are her promos perfect and stuff? No, but she does a really good job with what they give her. Resthold, I know you're going to be surprised to hear this, but it's the Briggs, Jensen, Fallon Henley.
No way.
Kiana James. So they're back
so good though.
Back to jumping to conclusions again. So multiple segments I'll summarize here. What was it? James has flowers on her desk because Briggs goes to talk to her, right, in her new office because she's been officing. And the fun part is listening to, like, the generic, like, I can't remember the things she says, but it's basically like,
talk.
I'm a businesswoman and my business stuff has been keeping me very busy with business kind of stuff, right? So she has flowers on her desk that Briggs initially assumes are from Jensen, but James is quick to sort of grab the card so that he can't see it. And immediately in another segment later, Henley and Briggs assume the worst, right? Again, about this, they didn't learn their lesson the first time. And I still don't care, but I put only would have when I was about 13, because that's what it feels like to me. So I think the idea is going to end up that James is actually married and she kind of did all of this to get title, whatever. I don't care. It's fine.
To get the women's tag titles. Woo!
Another Resthold is Gallus. I'm pretty sure are supposed to be baby faces right now. So they're in ring calling out Pretty Deadly. They Pretty Deadly show up in the balcony, and we're supposed to like Gallus and not Pretty Deadly, but Gallus are really bland and were just heels a couple weeks ago, while Pretty Deadly are almost always thoroughly entertaining. So the crowd wasn't into this, and neither was I. A high spot, Dragunov had his response to the McDonough cool, like, eye doctor segment last week. And Dragunov says that the eyes are the window to the soul, but JD has no soul, and sort of along those sort of lines. I think he sounds really good, and like you can believe that he wants to destroy McDonough when he gets his hands on him. So I'm pretty pumped. That's, I'm sure, a stand and deliver match, and that feels like takeover-ish to me, worthy almost, because those guys are awesome. So
Johnny Takeover.
High spot for me was a 6-man tag that over delivered. Was the Creeds and Breaker. They beat Indashir and Jinder Mahal with a Brutus ball, Doomsday device sort of thing. I don't know if that's their new finisher, but it's a way to use the Brutus ball. You know they want to keep using it, right? So
you could use it, but I don't think it needs to finish anything.
Julius hit a beautiful 450 at one point, which was a bit surprising. Better than I expected. Indushir are kind of a solid big man tag team. I felt like Jinder didn't do a ton in this. And the Creeds and Braun, we talked about it last week. Like, they fit really well together. Remember, they were wearing matching singlets. You were around enough to see that, right? Kind of plain blue, I think it was.
And Breaker had Breaker.
A bit of writing on it. Resthold for me, and I felt like it threw this entire show off, was the Grayson Waller effect. This was like a crazy long segment, and I think it did mess with the timing of the show from this point on, because things felt really rushed and frantic after this. I think the crowd participation at the beginning of this, like all the chanting for HBK of different things, sort of dragged this segment out. There were some good parts of it in the back and forth, but it was way too long. Michaels got flustered a couple times, maybe by the crowd getting involved when he didn't expect it to. But the bottom line is, Waller ends up challenging Shawn Michaels, right? Michaels ends up sort of teasing whatever, but then it turns out it's going to be Grayson Waller taking on Johnny Gargano, who got an awesome reaction from the crowd, right? He's an NXT guy. So that'll be at Stand and Deliver. So I did not enjoy this segment and thought it was way too long and really condensed everything else. So this bitter blood feud between Gigi Dolan and JC Jane, it's a rest hold for me. Gigi Dolan's already in the ring when we come back from a commercial. So I think one of maybe the victims of this. And also the match goes 8 minutes. So it's basic action, including chin locks. Dolan wins pretty quickly, obviously, with the crucifix in what I would call a bland match, especially considering the build for this. I guess we're getting a rematch at Stand and Deliver, I would assume, right? I don't care. And again, this felt like it was a casualty of the HBK Waller segment going long. Only other thing I have is a high spot. I thought the main event was quite good. And it was crazy. The bell didn't ring for this until 3 minutes from the end of the show. So this week they ended up getting about 12 minutes of overrun. And just an interesting thing, Mako has been wrestling longer than Perez has been alive, which is cool. And I thought they had a really good match, especially the last half where Mako seemed to be like really kicking stiff, dialing things up here. Mako hit Scorpio Rising on the floor, but when she went for it again in the ring, Perez was ready, countered it into a roll up for the win. The finish wasn't super satisfying.
Did they have one of the greatest women's matches in NXT history before?
Is that right?
Yeah, there was like a random one on TV, and they're acting like it was the greatest thing.
And I thought it was I thought it was good, but not amazing, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So good main event. Perez is a huge talent for sure, especially considering her age. Aftermath was Mako respect presents Perez with the title, raises her hand. Perez collapses face first onto the mat. Referees come out, and it's funny because it was a whole bunch of referees, and you can hear the first referee going like, why are you sending referees? Like, give me medical. Like, what are 4 more refs going to do when she's collapsed? But anyways, Perez ends up leaving on a stretcher to end the show, kind of reminiscent of Shawn Michaels and Owen Hart from 95, right? Shawn collapsed after a bunch of punishment from Owen. But I watched it thinking, who's going to attack her while she's on the stretcher, right? And let's make a heel. Like Stratton would have been a cool choice, but nothing. She just collapsed and gone. So I don't know where they're going. Impact quickly. Resthold opening segment. I think you caught some of it, followed by a match because it was the obligatory Bully Ray comes out and speaks about his issues with Tommy Dreamer, and I couldn't care less. And then the match. Unfortunately, Mash is now wrapped up in this, right? And Mickey James. So the match was Gujar, and it's a low blow. So Gujar wins by DQ after about 3 minutes, as a once promising talent continues to be fodder in a feud between 2 men who should be retired, in my opinion. Dreamer runs down, Masha runs down, Mickey James runs down. Women brawl. Dreamer chases the heels away with a chair. Impact insists on giving Bully Ray time each and every week, and unless something changes, it's like slotted in as a rest hold for me automatically. High spot. Gresham and Kushida. I don't know if you heard about that. Super technical, so technical I'm surprised I liked it, because sometimes I don't, but I really did. One part they had like a handshake. It was past a little bit into the match where there's a break. They shake hands again, and they end up like all kinds of holds and counters for a little bit, and then they end up on their feet still shaking hands. You know what I mean? They never really broke wrist control or whatever the whole time. So that was cool. Anyways, they each start targeting the other's left arm for a while, and Kushida ended up winning when he gets a pretty sudden hoverboard lock that Gresham taps almost immediately after 10 minutes. Very good match. Lots of grappling if that's what you're into. Then we go into a run of Restholds here. I almost paused it and got you to come down and watch it. I think this is when you said you might have fallen asleep for a bit before. So Killer Kelly's in the ring sitting on a chair backwards because that's how you do it when you're cool. And it's Taylor Wilde involved too. I think Killer Kelly is cool as hell, but this made it seem like maybe live promos aren't her thing because it's been mostly recorded segments that I thought were kind of cool. Wilde is cringeworthy as the witch character.
I saw a bit of that.
She came out to do her tarot cards, and Killer Kelly refused to take one. So Taylor Wilde drew one for her, and it was the tower. And I guess the implication was because Kylan King shows up and she's tall, right? Like a tower. She attacks Killer Kelly from behind. The actual attack looked pretty decent, but all of the speaking before it I thought was weak. And then that leads into I don't know if it's directly after. I think there might have been one thing in between that wasn't worth noting. But we get lots of supernatural nonsense because now the Death Dolls literally just teleport and magically appear to console Killer Kelly backstage, which you know I had to love. Rosemary tells her she needs to grasp the darker realm. Kelly doesn't seem convinced, but says that she can handle the 2-on-1 situation by herself. Kelly leaves, and then Kylan King and Taylor Wilde come in, challenge the Death Dolls to Knockouts tag team title match. Rosemary agrees as long as King and Wilde agree to put up the dark arts if they lose. So stipulation, I love.
So she's gonna get wild if she loses.
How about both of them put up their magical powers on the line? Anyways, I couldn't stand this. I put my final note. This was so bad, I almost made Jack watch it. Resthold. Again, we're in a little bit of a rut in this show. PCO and Eddie Edwards fight in a gravel pit or somewhere where there's lots of rocks and stuff. So it's kind of cinematic with a ridiculous dramatic music soundtrack, in my opinion, too loud and too constant. PCO in this one, because remember Eddie, they kind of did this before and Eddie got the upper hand and buried PCO. So this one's the reverse. Eddie is about to bury PCO, PCO is about to bury Eddie, and someone shows up in an SUV and runs over PCO. Eddie gets into the SUV and they leave PCO for dead, although we see they close up on his face and he's clearly not dead, like there's some movement there. And I guess the mystery is who's driving the SUV. I assume it's Alicia, but whatever. It's too much. I didn't enjoy this at all. Highspot, the main event, 17-minute match with Mickie James successfully defending her Knockouts title against Giselle Shaw while Purrazzo's on commentary. Good back and forth match. Jay Vidal gets involved in the finish. Shaw rolls up Mickie James, but the ref is distracted long enough for Purrazzo to leave the commentary table and reverse the roll up to allow Mickie James to pick up the win and retain. And I guess the idea is this is forwarding an angle between Shaw and Purrazzo. I thought the match was actually pretty good, and it stopped the string of a bunch of awful stuff that was in the second hour of the show. I guess that leads me to Ring of Honor. I only talk about 3-4 things, I think. Highspot, I like the opening match. Samoa Joe defeated Tony Deppen in a quick opener. I think Deppen's really good at taking a beating and being resilient and firing back with flurries of offense, and Joe is great at dishing out beatings. So I thought they worked together. Only 5.5 minutes, but Joe obviously ends up retaining with the Muscle Buster, but I was entertained. The Pure title match, you were sort of watching it, the second screening it, right, with Thatcher and Wheeler Yuta. So a super technical, again, 13-minute match. So Pure rules, each man here used all other rope breaks. Yuta used his one closed fist he was allowed to. Lots of arm targeting by Yuta was really good. And then he ended up winning with an illegal punch that the ref didn't see. And he applies, I think it was just a hammerlock, but in the ropes. And Thatcher used all of his rope breaks, so he ended up having to tap out. Again, a lot of mat work, so maybe not everybody's cup of tea, but I really like this. Yuta and the Combat Club are clearly showing more edge, and I think Thatcher's like a perfect fit for Pure Division, right? He's cool to watch.
And he's also kind of more aggressive with that.
Yes, I really like that match. Then we got, you watched this as well, I think you can confirm, an entertaining tag match. Aussie Open took on Tracy Williams and Rhett Titus, built into what I thought was a really good 10-minute tag team match on TV. Aussie Open each hit a cool pile driver, right, in succession. We got a spinning tombstone by Fletcher, and then I called it the ankle yank version, right? Because
it's like a devil inside, but a pile driver.
Who was on the? Was it Titus? I can't remember. Either one of them.
He caught his foot and then shoved him down and then pulled him up.
He basically grabs both of the ankles and pulls them right up into a pile driver, and they won with their Coriolis tandem finisher that looks pretty cool. And I think I've just kind of got Aussie Open as one of those group of wrestlers that I don't think can have a bad match. You know what I mean? Like, just I'm always interested in watching them every time, no matter what, and I don't think I've ever been disappointed. Even when we saw them in what year was that, at an indie show?
2019.
And we had no idea who they were.
Yeah.
And we were very entertained by them.
Yeah.
And then I thought a fantastic main event, one of my favorite women's matches in a while, I would say. It was Athena defending the ROH Women's Championship in a really physical match against Willow. I thought Athena did a really good job, because sometimes I feel like she overdoes stuff, but I thought she did a good job of looking aggressive. She had a lot of snug strikes in this. Willow hit a nice power bomb on the apron and a nice Death Valley driver. They called it a Spicoli driver. Is that the same thing? It looked like it to me.
I don't know.
Anyways, looked really good. Athena eventually hit a wasteland on the ramp because I think she was teasing like running away from the match. Obviously, Willow followed her up there. Wasteland rolled Willow into the ring, hit her Eclipse or whatever it's called now. I can't remember. And actually, Willow, because she had taken the wasteland on the ramp, was sort of struggling to get up, and it wasn't as awkward a transition into the Eclipse as sometimes. And then after the match, I like this too. Athena initially refused the Code of Honor and then ran over Willow with a belt shot. Willow's leaning up against the steel steps and takes the running double knees, and then Athena sort of shakes Willow's limp hand after kind of knocking her out, which I thought was a cool heel touch. I really got into this match by the end of it. I liked Athena's heel attitude. It wasn't too far. Sometimes her facial expressions and stuff, she's trying too hard. I thought she dialed it back and was good here. Far better than the vast majority of women's matches on Dynamite, unfortunately. And also, ROH had 2 women's matches this week because Trish Adora beat an 18-year-old prodigy who I can't remember what her name was. Remember was it Starks, I think? Billy Starks?
Yeah.
She actually looked pretty good, but that's something Dynamite never does, right? So I thought a really strong finish to a good episode of Ring of Honor. Again, it's pretty much no real storylines. They did have Eddie Kingston and Claudio sort of interact here, but lots of solid in-ring work, and it's just kind of match after match after match. So that's it for me. You have any SmackDown bits?
The only one I have from SmackDown was the Restholds, because they had the 5-way to see who would face Gunther at Mania.
Right.
And I figured they would be setting up a 3-way with him and Sheamus and McIntyre. But the finish and how they went about it was
so it is what
stupid.
We're getting.
It seems like
okay.
Because so Sheamus hit Wood to the mid-air brogue kick after like a bit of a stare down with McIntyre.
Yeah.
Then right after McIntyre hit a Claymore at LA Knight, then they simultaneously pinned both of those guys. For some reason, there's 2 refs. I don't get it.
Oh, boy.
Anyways, it feels like a dumb way to get to the match. I figured we were getting, like, I'd rather them have, like, a double pinfall on, like, you know, like, where they both kind of their shoulders down or something.
Right.
Not, like, simultaneous. Like, this just
thing.
feels, like, stupid and, like, convoluted. It's the thing you see in, like, shows doing wrestling that don't know wrestling.
So does Knight have nothing going on so far for Mania? Because I feel like he's been doing, like...
I heard he might fight Austin.
From what I hear, like, he's getting really good reactions. Like, crowds are getting into him.
I love LA Knight.
I think he's a perfect fit for main roster WWE, right? Like, he's a good, even that stupid thing works for me. It really does.
I love that.
I do too. So yeah, I figure they have to find something for him.
Yeah, I don't know. But like, and I saw like someone edit like him going and then Austin going what?
Yeah.
Like that's
funny.
Alone would that's why they should do that match, because that would be the best segment ever.
LA Knight is like the perfect WWE main roster on the mic guy. I think he should. Like, he's exactly what they want.
If Austin has to wrestle, if that must happen. Nice, not a bad choice, because he saw it in the ring, so it wouldn't be horrible. And then also the promo work, I think, would be.
He is a sports entertainer, in my opinion. He's good enough in the ring. He's not like a.
No, I think he could totally carry like a title run or something.
I do too. Yep.
Like I don't know. I think they should give him something.
Me too. I guess that's it for our Highspots and Restholds. So we'll move into the final segment. You said you got a little bit to talk about from the world of figures in Figuring It Out with Jack. Go right ahead, sir.
The only thing I found that was notable was they put out different images for the Supreme Series 3 Lucha Bros, which is the ones with where where you can take with the butterfly joints, you can take at the arms, and
Yeah.
they usually come with multiple pants, but I don't think they're doing that here because I feel like with the mask it doesn't work as well, especially with Penta because he's got the top bit too, so they don't have the alternate legs, but they got like their entrance stuff and whatever. So it's from the cage match, when they had like the cool attire and they had the big head dresses and the varsity looking jackets.
Yeah, I do.
So they had that. I feel like this would be a good blood and guts figure though. They should do like this same figure, obviously not with the butterfly joints, but for Penta in the blood and guts series, because remember he bled like a crap ton.
He sure did.
And his mask was like that's literally the picture on the back. Like his mask is all red. Like that should be another figure in of itself, the bloody version. But so they have both of those. They look really cool. They got the jackets and obviously the interchangeable arms for the jackets. And I think each of them has like 4 heads. And I like Phoenix because the kick pads are kind of white. I think they both have tag belts and they look nice.
Nice.
So I'll get those because they look nice.
Yeah, they're never a dull figure, those guys.
Mm-hmm. And that is it.
That was quick. All right, well, that's bringing us to the end of a large episode 138. Thanks for taking any time to listen to us talk about the world of wrestling. If you want to contact us, fnswrestling@gmail.com will come to me. FNS_wrestling_podcast on Instagram. We'll go to that guy over there. Love any feedback. What'd you think about the wrestling you watched this week? Is there something you'd like us to cover? We're still thinking about an episode during our March break if we get around to it, so keep an eye out for that. If you are on March break like us, I hope you enjoy it and stay safe and do something fun. We'll definitely see you back here for episode 139 next Saturday. And until then, take care.